A good car, it's a blast. I mean, when you can go up and you go down, you're just having fun.
Now they go 3 wide as Kenny Breck drops below the white line. Kenny Breck, the first driver in Pep Boys IRL competition to win 3 consecutive races. So grab a seat, heck, grab anything.
People that do, they come back and just said, you know, you guys are crazy, you guys are nuts, but I'm coming back to watch.
It's the IndyCars under the lights. Next on Fox Sports Net, it's hot. The Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Tonight, the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500 presented by MCI WorldCom. High drama on the high banks at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Kenny Breck drove this car to victory lane here in Atlanta 1 year ago. It capped off a 3-race winning streak en route to the points championship. Now this car is the 4 car, and it currently is in front of the points race, driven by Scott Goodyear. Goodyear has brought it to victory lane already twice this season. Will it be Breck or Goodyear in the winner's circle again tonight? Or maybe Greg Ray, who was a winner at Pikes Peak 1 race ago. Maybe even Jeff Ward, who is second in the points championship. Honestly, we could go 10 or 12 deep when talking about potential winners. We'll find out which car and which driver comes home to victory lane 208 laps from now.
That's right, Vince. 208 laps around the high banks. Just as we saw at Texas and Lowe's Motor Speedway, 24 degrees of banking. What it means is side-by-side action, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 abreast. It's sure to be exciting tonight under the lights here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
A gorgeous night for racing. Welcome live to Atlanta. I'm Dave Calabro. Good evening. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. 6th race of the season for the IRL, the final night race of the season. Jack Arute joins me now. And Jack, we're coming off the second closest finish in IRL history at Pikes Peak, where Greg Ray won by 0.12 of a second.
Dave, Greg Ray came to Pikes Peak International Raceway 0 for 18 in his career. He was hot off a second-place finish at Texas Motor Speedway, but what he did is he scrapped his traditional pre-race routine of physical workouts, early bedtimes, and a special diet, vacationed with his family, ate all the wrong foods, and stayed up late. What did he end up? He ended up in victory lane. Now, Greg Ray, who was 20th in points going into the Texas Motor Speedway race, took the second and that first and has catapulted himself into 3rd position. Scott Goodyear and his Pennzoil Panther team still lead the chase thanks to their 2 wins. Jeff Ward's 4 top 10 finishes in 5 races have him and the Yahoo team solidly in 2nd, while the 32 points earned by Eddie Cheever and the Children's Beverage Group Infinity moved him to 4th in the standings and coined what has to be the best phrase of the year when he told our Vince Welch, "Points are for sissies." Now working with us as always, 2-time Indy 500 champion Ari Lyondike.
Jack, we've spoken about speed, 2x2 racing, 3-wide racing, and all those things, but what we haven't spoken about are how crucial the spotters are going to be tonight. The way the car is positioned on the track, on the 24-degree banking, the driver has a blind spot in his mirrors. He can't really see everywhere, so he needs help from above. The spotters are on top of the roof, and from above he needs all the help he can get, and here you can see how steep that banking is.
All right, thank you, Ari Lyondike. 1.54 miles an hour is the miles, and Billy Boat, the man who will start on the pole position. 2nd year in a row, Boat's on the pole here at Atlanta. 8th career pole for Billy Boat. 1st pole of the season for him. The Harris Casino car starts up front right alongside Greg Ray. Greg Ray starts in the front row for the 5th time this year as Billy Boat celebrates at 215.2 miles an hour. So up front tonight, it's Billy Boat along with Greg Ray. We hope you'll stay with us right here on Fox Sports Net as we bring you the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. It's next right here on Fox Sports Net. This Fox Sports Net Pep Boys Indy Racing League event, the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500, presented by MCI WorldCom, is sponsored in part by Kobalt Tools, sets the standard in mechanics tools. By Firestone, America's tire since 1900. By Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go, Pennzoil. And by Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us. And welcome live to Atlanta. Pep Boys Indy Racing League activity tonight. The Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. A great crowd on hand as we prepare to go racing here tonight. The Rain-X weather report for you tonight. Well, 81 degrees, the humidity at 67%. It's down a little bit from last night when we had qualifications. The forecast, a 30% chance of showers in the area, but so far, folks, oh, the sunshine has been there just for us, just right. So we're preparing for racing under the lights. The race analysis for you tonight, 208 laps, 320 miles, 27 cars on the starting grid today. The fuel window, 35 to 45 laps is the key, Jack.
Well, yeah, but don't forget that window will slide back and forth if we have some caution because of the increased fuel mileage that you can get under the yellow flag condition.
All right, got great conditions. We're standing by now for that famous command. Gentlemen, start your engines. Standing by is three-time Indy 500 winner Johnny Rutherford, and he has the command for us tonight.
Now goes.
And now down track side for honorary starter, Johnny Rutherford.
Gentlemen, start your engines and follow me.
So there you hear the command from Johnny Rutherford, referring to the fact that he'll be driving the pace car tonight. He's not starting on the pole position.
The thing you got to worry about, though, Johnny Rutherford was the first winner at Atlanta Motor Speedway in a modern-day race, but you got to wonder he may stay out there.
Never know. Closest starting field in IRL history, 62 hundredths of a second. Here's the starting grid.
Row 1, Billy Boat defends his 1998 pole here, remains the only Atlanta IRL pole winner, while good friend Greg Ray makes his 5th front row start of the season. One time Ray was a spotter for both.
Row 2, Sam Smith, brand new daddy of a new baby boy, no name yet, Savannah's brother. And Mark Dismore, either could be IRL's next new first-time winners.
Row 3 includes Scott Goodyear. His team is called Panther Racing. He's confident. Panthers hunt at night. Scott Sharp looks to do better than his season best finish of 4th.
Row 4, Davey Hamilton, 2nd here last year, and Jeff Ward currently 2nd in points. Another row of fast, consistent, reliable performers, both hungry for a first win. Davey has started all IRL races.
Row 5 could be called the Wild Wild West row. Texan John Hollingsworth on the inside with his X-Men pit crew, and Robbie Unser of Santa Fe. Question is, which one is James West? Which one is Artemis Gordon? It's Mini-Me on row 6.
Yes, Atlanta is home for Jimmy Kite. He wants to shine here. And Scott Harrington, who is the example of perseverance, driving with injuries sustained at the last mile-and-a-half track.
With apologies to Pontiac, row 7 finds Stefan Gregoire, who says wider is not better. He brings the narrow track car to the grid. Kenny Brack hopes to use the draft to catch his pole-winning teammate and defend his race title.
Row 8, the two Laziers together. One a veteran and Indy 500 winner, the other a rookie. Big brother Buddy wants respect from Jock.
Row 9 includes midget ace Ronnie John Cox making his 2nd IRL start, driving for a team co-owned by Tony Stewart. Aliseo Salazar brings his gloves and driving shoes, looking like the Chilean flag, and making his first ever Atlanta appearance.
Row 10, Dr. Jack Miller, the milkman, making his 2nd start of the year, and Buzz Calkins, who knows how to win, but still looking for Lady Luck this year.
In row 11, Eddie Cheever may have been slow in qualifying, but in the draft, watch out. He was 3rd quickest last night. Tybo sponsors Johnny Unser. Maybe he can use a little bit of that martial art to carve his way to the front.
Row 12, 2 Indy 500 Rookies of the Year making up this row. Robbie, a winner here last year in the Formula 4 2000, and Steve Knapp, who will make his first appearance at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
The 13th row includes Raul Boisel, sunglasses, and a Riley and Scott chassis. It produces reduced downforce. It hopes that he'll make it swift tonight. Tice Carlson, he just hopes that he's ended his gearbox problems.
All by himself on row 14, Donnie Beechler did not get a chance to qualify yesterday, but rest assured he won't stay back here for long.
Some very talented drivers here tonight. Speaking of talented drivers, Ari Landijk along now with Pro Start Batteries. Keys to the race, Ari.
Good night. Good evening.
The keys tonight?
Looks like we have another new potential race winner. Sam Smith would be one of them. Jeff Ward would be another. Davey Hamilton would be another. And a few more guys who are coming up tonight. Tires, we've heard some rumors in the pit lane that there might be a problem with tire wear for both makes. So we'll see how that develops tonight. And one thing we are going to be sure of tonight is we are going to get 3-wide racing. Definitely a lot of 2-wide, but a lot of 3-wide racing as well.
What is it, 4 wide?
It could be 4 wide on the back straight because the back straight widens up, and then of course they got to get back onto the racetrack, because when they go into turn 3 there's that transition, and the transition, if the driver with his left wheel crosses this white line right there, then he could be in big trouble, because that's where the transition of the racetrack has.
All right, we have 6 in-car cameras for your enjoyment tonight. This is Buddy Lazier, Delta Coors Line, starting 15th in row 8, right next to his little brother Jacques.
With a brand new sponsor, Valinite, on board for the Hemmelgarn team. And how about Kenny Breck, defending champion here at Atlanta Motor Speedway? As we said at the start of this thing, he wants to try and draft his way to the front and team up with Billy Boat.
Climbing towards the front, starting in 6th position, the Delphi machine. This is Scott Sharp.
The Pennzoil Panther. You could hear Kevin Blanche saying that to Scott Goodyear, get ready, and they're already going to go into fuel consumption.
And some commands to Mark Dismore on board with him, and Sam Schmidt coming up with his career best start, starting 3rd. As next time around we will have the green here at Atlanta. Vince Welsh.
Eddie Cheever has his worst starting position this season, inside of the 11th row, but you mentioned he was very quick in practice yesterday. Cheever said his philosophy tonight, just keep passing cars until there's no one else to pass.
The bright sunshine may be a real factor right now. It's dropping down as they approach turn 1. Not so much there, but it hits them in the mirrors as they turn into turn 3. Those spotters Ari were talking about will be a real factor in the early stint.
59, moving back.
Calvin Fish, Vince Welsh taking care of the pit assignments for us tonight as the field comes out of turn 4. We watch that bright colored pace car leading the way. Johnny Rutherford will now pull away. You hear some final commands on the radios, and here comes the field, the start of the race. Mark Kaufman.
Slow start.
Now with the green flag, and the green comes out.
Trouble with Schmidt on the start.
Schmidt was anticipating a start. It didn't happen, and he had to back off, and then Billy Boat jumped on it, and that's how he dropped back.
That's that black and white car you see down to the inside. He's already lost 3 spots.
That's right, up front. Billy Boat will grab the early lead onto the backstretch. Greg Ray settles in 2nd.
Jeff Ward on the outside, usual pattern for him. He's always blasting around everybody on the outside on the upper lap, and he does it again today. But Sam Schmidt does come ahead of Sam Schmidt to the finish flag here.
You mentioned a slow start to this race.
It was a little too slow. I thought that Billy brought him down way too slow. Of course, he had to wait for the pace car to get into the pit lane, but still it was a little bit of a slow start.
And now what we're beginning to see unfold is everybody try to get in line, get a feel for how the track and what the track conditions are, and then we'll begin to see what I call the slingshot. Not the draft that we see in NASCAR, but the old type of draft.
Like this one right here.
Break a hole in the wall of wind and you try to go to the inside. As the Glidden Menards car of Greg Ray tries to do so, he's got the lead. We've got a new leader.
Working on the inside, Billy Boat will tuck down low. He'll take over 2nd place, and falling back to 2nd place, and on board with Scott Sharp, 4th place.
He's right behind Mark Dismore, who said that he's really happy with the way their cars are performing in race trim right now.
Dismore predicted that he would have a podium finish this evening. He said he would only be happy if he was spraying champagne. You only get champagne for 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
And you'll notice when they come out of turn 4, that sunshine is awfully tough as they work down through that main straightaway.
Sam Schmidt making a move here, and he's going around Scott. It looks already to me like Scott is struggling a little bit. His car is moving around quite a bit through 3 and 4 there. Sam has had a great weekend so far. He was quickest on Friday, both practice sessions. And here he's going around the outside of Mark Dismore. So now he's moved up back to his starting position, 3rd place. And he's going to tuck in behind Billy Boat.
I think the best part about this is Sam Schmidt may have missed a gear or may have had a problem, a slow start. He didn't panic. He kept his foot planted in the throttle, built his momentum up, and now he's slowly, methodically climbing back up the ladder. In his mind, probably saying, now I'm back to where I belong. Trouble for car 21. This is way too early, Vince Welch, for Jeff Ward to be on pit road.
The car is very loose, and they're not going to waste it. They're not going to waste any time. They're going to bring Jeff Ward in and make a chassis adjustment to try to tighten it up.
Well, he's had 2 seconds and 1/3 in the past 5 races, and we're watching him in the pit area right now.
The crew chief said they'll take 3 turns of front wing out. That's quite a bit of front wing. The other thing that could be happening here is his tire pressures, they might have started off too low, and that they're not coming up right away will make the car feel really bad. So really a bad break for him. He's going to go a lap down, maybe 2.
We said a Panther hunts at night. Well, that's what the Pennzoil Panther's trying to do right now with the Delphi Automotive car for Scott Sharp. You ride on board with Sharp, and right over here, hey, that is the guy that leads the Pep Boys Indy Racing League point standings right now. And he is also the guy that won on the last quad oval at Texas Motor Speedway.
That's right, one of his 2 wins. Scott Goodyear on board with him, and Eddie Cheever, we hear now, moved up 8 spots already. On board with Scott Goodyear. Calvin Fish.
He's very disappointed with the engine in qualifying. He said it laid down on him a little bit. They put a fresh engine in for the warm-up. He was back up to a 2:14, third fastest in the warm-up. He's very confident and heading to the front.
After that warm-up, or actually after qualifying, Owen Snyder came up to me, showed me the telemetry. Eddie Cheever was flat out all the way around, and then he joked and he said, you know, if Cheever didn't own this team, if this was just a driver for hire, we probably would tell him to go print his resume and look for a new job.
You know, the one thing Eddie is always pretty candid about, you know, he gives a nice straight answer, and he said, you know, there's not much further you can go back, so I'm only going to go forward. And that's exactly what's happening here. It's quite easy to pass maybe the 10 guys in front of you, but that next batch, you know, the top 12, 8 guys, they're going to be a lot harder to pass for him.
But what Cheever likes to do, is we'll watch Cheever, as he goes in and he catches the draft. What he likes to do is let the nose drift up just a little bit coming out of the corner. Then he tries to ride downhill in a little bit of momentum, especially when he's setting a guy up for a pass. Let's see if it happens exiting turn 2 here.
Now he's going to tuck in behind the car in front of him, who I believe is John Hollingsworth. But he does do that a little bit. So there you go.
And look at his speed. Cheever picking up the pace. Up front, your race leader right now, Greg Ray.
Sam Schmidt already up to second place, past Billy Boat. We didn't get to see that, but right now, Sam is looking for the lead.
Around some lap traffic, there's Greg Ray, followed closely by Sam Schmidt. That's Jeff Ward right there in the Yahoo machine.
So this will definitely shuffle the point standings if Ward cannot get that lap back as we ride on board. And boy, there is the sun, but that's not where it creates the problem. It's back in the mirrors when they go into the corner in turn 3. It creates those blind spots that you were referring to, Ari.
You can see it actually. We were able to see it on the previous shot. I don't know who that is on the radio, but Sam Schmidt is just moving in on him very quickly.
That's comments from Greg Ray on the radio. Sam Schmidt's going to try to go high on him here, but maybe not.
Where are you at your bars?
Greg Ray is complaining about the handling of the car, and you can see his car moving around a little bit in the turns.
Did he say the car was pushing? Is that what I heard?
I couldn't hear it, but Sam is going to take him right here. He said stiff in the rear. So stiff in the rear bar means the car is pushing a little bit.
Now what do we mean when we say a car is pushing?
100% rear.
Listening to Thomas Knapp, team manager.
100 in the rear, 50 in the front.
John O'Gara, the chief mechanic, also passing on the word.
Go more in the front.
So now he's telling him to go softer on the front as well. And if that doesn't help, then of course they're going to take some wing out pretty soon.
Let's take a look at the telemetry there from America Racing Wheels. You can see that our leader actually is not even tiptoeing up to that 10,000 maximum RPM. For Sam Schmidt and the Sprint PCS team, I'd like to say about 9,800. The race has still got a lot of laps to go.
You betcha, 193 laps to go. The race leader is Sam Schmidt. There's a battle for third place right now. Billy Boat started on the pole, trying to hang on down there as he gets some challenges coming up.
That's a 3-car battle. In the meantime, look at Sam Schmidt. He is pulled away from Greg Ray. Schmidt in the Sprint PCS car, Ray in the Glidden Menards team. And now Sam Schmidt, after that miscue at the drop of the green flag, he's right where he wants to be.
192 laps to go. We're in Atlanta for the IRL race. We're battling at the Mechanics Kobalt Showdown. Hope you'll stay with us. Welcome back to the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500 live from Atlanta on Fox Sports Net. We're watching a battle now for 7th and 8th. Davey Hamilton in 7th and Kenny Brett closing in, and some great racing going on. That's Hamilton in the bright orange car.
The Spinal Conquest entry from Rick Gallis' stable started in 7th spot, and he remains in 7th. But as we ride aboard the Harrah's Oldsmobile, the power team car for A.J. Foyt, he has gained 7 positions, Vince Welch, after starting in the 14th spot.
Well, that's quite amazing considering they've got a pretty steady push in the car. Just spoke with Tommy LeMance of the power team, and he said, we'll have to wait until the pit stop to fix it, but it's definitely something we'll need to fix.
They're closing in on Scott Sharp here, running in 6th place. So Scott has slowly dropped back a little bit, and it doesn't seem like he's really in trouble. So I'm looking for a good result at the end of the night by Scott Sharp as well.
We talk about push, we talk about loose, we talk about understeer, we talk about oversteer. You want to keep it all straight? Understeer has a U, push has a U. Oversteer has an O, loose has an O. Understeer means the front end of the car hits the wall first. Loose means the rear of the car hits first. Right now, you're going to have your breath taken away if you're the milkman, because that's what happened to Dr. Jack Miller. He was the meat in the sandwich between the Pennzoil Panther car of Scott Goodyear and Mark Dismore in the MCI WorldCom car.
That's where spotters are crucial. The spotter will tell Jack Miller, you got a guy on your left and a guy on your right. Just stay where you are and give them both room.
Pennzoil car down.
Nice job. Keep digging, buddy.
You hear him cheering for Scott.
That Scooter, we call him Scooter, is always really giving Scotty a lot of pep talk, which is good.
Goodyear now riding in third.
This is from the back of Scott Goodyear's car, and there you can see the sun really shining on the back of his car and in those mirrors.
This is the battle for sixth position.
Davey Hamilton just took 6, and now Kenny Brackett looking for 6.
You know, it's amazing when you stop and think these guys are running 212 miles an hour, pushing a button, talking on the radio, doing side-by-side racing.
Yeah, but wait. See that car right there? He started 21st. The children's beverage car moves to the inside of the Delphi Automotive car of Scott Sharp and actually breaks into the top 10. He's moved up to 7th spot. That's Fast Eddie Cheever with a brand new Infinity power plant.
Jeff Ward is in the pits and Vince Welch is there.
Still fighting the problems. Still fighting the problems with the handling of the race car. And obviously on a track of this nature, you can make up some ground under a yellow, but you start falling behind a couple of laps. It's very difficult to make up. Here's Mitch Davis with the Yahoo team of Jeff Ward. Mitch, what's the matter with Jeff's car?
We have a trouble on the backstretch.
Well, we got problems on the backstretch.
We've got a car in the wall on the backstretch. It's John Hollinsworth, the 42 CompuCom machine, up against the wall.
What a tough night for the Lycos people, and you can see that the shock cover, actually, it
just came off.
It just blew off from the air. That's how fast you're going. When you get the air down in the cockpit, it'll pop off.
Yeah, it's attached with one screw. It's not really much attaching it, but when you hit the wall like he did from the side, and he didn't hit it very hard.
I'll show you the nose cone cover.
Basically, his damage is
Joe, what does the car look like?
So this is coming out of turn 2.
He's asked what the car looks like.
How does the car still roll?
The reason that you can hardly hear the radio, because on that shock cover is the antenna, and it is separated from the radio.
Right there, there's a wire usually coming up and attaching it.
So John Hollinsworth in the wall, lap 30. Sam Schmidt still in the race lead. Greg Ray is second. Goodyear is third. Mark Dismore fourth. And Billy Boat, the gentleman who started on the pole, is now fifth.
Let's take a look at what happened to John Hollinsworth, the rookie. He was down low.
He came down below this white line right there, and that's where the transition is off the racetrack, and spun him around.
Not only that, but as we take a look again, he's already up in the wall in the CompuCom Lycos entry out of Dallas, Texas, John Hollinsworth and Team Extreme, but also down below the white line as the safety crew goes to work on Hollinsworth. You could hear on the radio that he was fine. The only injury he must have received was probably some disappointment. Let's check in with Calvin Fish for an update.
Mark Wider is the crew chief. John had a good run going up to about the 12th spot, improved 5 positions. What put him out of the race, Mark? Any idea?
Well, I haven't been able to talk to him. I think it knocked the antenna or the radio loose in the thing, but he was just trying to lap Jack Miller, and the spotter said that he had got up and tapped the wall. So from what I'm hearing from the IRL, they said he's got a little damage on the right rear. So if we get it back here, we'll see what's going on and see if we can fix it and get him back out.
Is this sunlight actually creating problems visibility-wise when you're in traffic for the guys? Any concern about that with John in the early going?
Well, it's definitely a factor into the program for sure, because it's very tough going into one, and it drops right into a hard shadow into two. And I know he was, like I said, was trying to lap a car, and so who knows, until he gets back here and we get a chance to talk to him, it'll be hard to find out, be easy to find out then what went on.
Thanks, Mark. Sorry to see you out.
No problem. Thank you.
So there's an update. Sam Schmidt is your race leader. Greg Ray is second. Goodyear is third here on Fox Sports Net. 30 laps complete. We'll be right back.
Can we see that again, Ty?
It's the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. We were under yellow, and the race leader, Sam Schmidt, came into the pits and they had some problems.
Boy, I'm just, my heart rate went up like crazy because he stole the car and really couldn't get it out. They couldn't get him push started, so they had to pull him all the way back, and it took quite a while for him to get started again.
Harry, you talked about pit stops playing a vital role here tonight. For Greg Ray and the Glidden Menard team, they went to work, no problem.
One are in the pit.
But for the Sprint PCS car, the car stalls.
What happened?
Skip fall, they try to push the car out. It doesn't refire. Davey Hamilton gets stranded in the Spinal Conquest car.
And then one of the crew guys on the Sprint PCS team almost got run over.
Right here, watch.
Right there, it was very close. What happened, the wheels were spinning while he was still in the air. As the car dropped down, it didn't go forward the way he wanted to, and it stalled.
Well, let's find out with Skip Fall, who's standing by with our Vince Welch.
Skip, what happened on that stop? I don't really know. Sam said he went to take off. The thing just lost power. So we tried to push start him, and it started and stalled again. So we'll just have to make it an exciting race, I guess.
Dangerous spot for you out there?
Huh?
Was it a dangerous spot for you there?
No, not really.
He didn't see it.
Skip Fall, sometimes it's better what you don't see.
You're exactly right. But he is okay.
All right, so if you've got the blackboard going at home, that is 2 for the Sprint PCS team. The problem at the restart, and now he did not go a lap down, though, but you see with the pit summary, he went from 1st to 20th. The man that has gained the most is Eddie Cheever. Lazier was running in 11th, and he came out in the 5th position. Losers, Boat 5th, out 18th, and as we said, Schmidt in 1st, out 20th.
So we're under yellow right now, 33 laps completed. There's Eddie Cheever on the charge. He's got that Infinity machine hooked up. The pace car continues to lead the field around as we continue to be under yellow because John Hollinsworth made contact with the wall. He's okay. The car had some minor damage, so we'll watch and see if that team can make it back onto the track here tonight here in Atlanta. The skies have cleared, and we've got a beautiful night for racing as the lights will come into play in just a little bit. So again, the leader right now is the Scott Goodyear after a fantastic pit stop. Greg Ray is 2nd, Mark Dismore is 3rd, and Hamilton is 4th. All right, let's watch the start of the race right now. A little race summary for you here on Fox Sports Net.
And what you want to watch, Buddy Lazier gets 2. Up through the gearbox, 4.
That's a man on a mission. This is the pass for the lead. Sam Schmidt working on the outside.
Another man on a mission. The Sprint PCS car goes to the outside of Greg Ray. And takes over the lead. Eddie Cheever, in the meantime, he started 21st, moved up to battle right here, going to the outside of Jimmy Kite and the Team Losi machine to work with Kenny Breck to break into the top 10. Then the Lycos car, along with Compucom.com of John Hollinsworth, the rookie, brought out the first caution of the evening, and we're getting ready to go back to green. But the one part we didn't talk about was the fact that the problem with the Sprint PCS car, he is now in the back of the lead lap. He's all the way back to 20th. Vince?
Standing by with Mark Kaufman, the Senior Vice President of Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, the exclusive distributor of Kobalt Mechanical Tools. Great event already, exciting here. I know you guys are proud to be a part of the event.
Yeah, we're proud to be here, and Kobalt Tools is really proud to sponsor this event. They're great tools. It's a partnership between Snap-on and Lowe's companies to offer professional quality tools in the home improvement warehouse. It's a great program.
Thanks a lot. Glad you're back.
Here's the restart of the race, and here we go. The race leader is Scott Goodyear. He brings the field across the start-finish line. Restart on lap 37 now.
It looks as if Greg Ray may lose that 2nd position. On the outside of him is Mark Dismore in the MCI WorldCom machine. Dismore on the brake. In the meantime, Buddy Lazier in that purple car just bypassed the Spinal Conquest car as well, moving back up to put himself in the 4th spot. Calvin Fish, let's check in on the condition of Greg Ray's machine.
Well, Greg Ray had a slight understeer in the car. They went up 2 turns at front wing to help that condition. And Buddy Lazier had a great pit stop, moving up to 5th. He's now 4th. He too had an understeer in the car. For their adjustment, they actually added some tire pressure to the rear.
There you watch Greg Ray, the number 2 Glidden machine. The guy who's charging has been Buddy Lazier the last couple of laps. Kenny Breck now. Kenny Breck. He's in 7th.
This is a battle developing for the 5th position. The car right there is Jeff Ward. He is a lap down. But the 3 cars running in formation around him, they are battling for the spot. On the point there is the Delphi Automotive machine as we look out the backside of Scott Sharp's machine. The car right here, that is Kenny Breck's power team entry. And way behind the lapped car is the 3rd car in the battle. That's the Davey Hamilton machine. Those guys are competing for the 5th spot. They currently run 5th, 6th, and 7th.
And before the yellow, those guys were actually doing the same thing, so that's kind of staying the same. Mark Dismore is still running very strong, a little bit stronger than Scott Sharp. They both are running in the same team, Kelly Racing. And then we're going to keep an eye on Sam Schmidt, who now has moved up already to 12th place, restarting in 20th place.
Buddy Lazier charging right now. Lazier continues to pound. Taking a look at Dismore, and where has Billy Boat fallen to? He's at 17th. Here's Vince Welsh.
Well, it was a domino effect with the Sam Schmidt incident in the pits. Because Schmidt's car was having trouble getting out, Hamilton's crew was out in the pit box trying to signal Davey Hamilton, let him know where his pit spot was. In the meantime, Billy Boat was also trying to come in. Boat actually went by his pit box. They had to go out and get him and bring him back in. So a real domino effect with Schmidt's problem in the pits.
Looks as if there is a problem on the ISM Delco Remy Microphonics car for Steve Knapp. You saw Fuzz.com on there. That was the new internet entertainment site for Fuzzy Zeller.
That's right.
www.fuzz.com.
The power team, Kenny Breck, trying to get around Sharp. Wheel-to-wheel battling right now. And Sharp's going to take him high on the Delphi machine right now. 5th place.
You're hearing the spotter telling Scott Sharp that he is still there on the inside. Kenny Breck trying to hold on. Now there's where you really begin to feel the wind when you pull back in like that. And it can literally lift the nose, take some air off that front wing.
Exactly. When you slot in behind that quickly as Kenny Breck did there, it kind of lifts the front of the car and the car gets a little floaty. The steering gets a little light, but then it settles down. So nothing really to worry. You don't want to do that too close to the exit of the corner, coming close to the wall.
Riding on board the power team entry for Kenny Breck, defending champion of the Atlanta Motor Speedway race here. And Breck, who started back in the 14th position, has moved into 6th, and he continues to duke it out with Scott Sharp for that 5th spot.
Breck is 7th right now. He just lost that 6th position to Scott Sharp, who seems to be running a little bit stronger than before the yellow. Right ahead of them is Buddy Lazier, who was so aggressive before, but now he lost that position.
Look how close they get to one another right there. I tell you what, this will get you excited right here.
Your voice just went up about 12 octaves there. Was that close?
I cannot imagine being out there driving in these conditions and running that tight.
Steve Knapp was dropping back. Calvin Fish, what's the story on his condition?
Loss of power with the number 35 machine. He radioed in. He said the engine's gone dead. They believe it's an electrical problem. The problem is he was not able to get it back to his pit stall. The crew may believe that they have to be towed in, costing valuable time under this green flag condition.
Let's update you on a couple of the runs from the back as we watch this battle continuing between Scott Sharp and Kenny Breck. They are side by side, but we want to update you. Eddie Cheever has moved into the 8th position. And how about Sam Schmidt? He is in 11th spot.
What's happening here between Scott Sharp and Kenny Breck is basically who's going to slot in behind the other guy and just kind of stay there. You can run side by side for quite a number of laps, but it's not going to help you. But every time you see Kenny's going to try and make the move on the inside, here he is. but now he's going to make the pass stick. Now Scott is just going to drop in behind.
And there was an example, a textbook example of what I'm talking about when I talk about the draft in Indy Racing League. It's a slingshot. It's a slingshot. It's like you squeeze yourself right out of a tube of toothpaste. You squirt by, and the next thing you know, you've got the spot. Now something squirted on the windshield.
And it's a matter of timing, really getting that slingshot to work for you. If you do it, if the timing is just a little bit off, you're going to get stuck beside him.
Let's go check in with Sam Schmidt in the Sprint PCS entry as he's trying to carve his way back to the front. I'll tell you what, I am very impressed with Sam's demeanor. He had those two problems, first at the start and then on pit road. That would unravel and frazzle most guys, but it looks as if Schmidt, now in the 9th position, it hasn't affected his drive.
Well, Sam's car is definitely working like a dream tonight, and when you know that, in the back of your mind, you know, okay, I've fallen back, but I'm still on the lead lap. I can, I can go back to the front, and if we ride with him or with here, he just looks very relaxed. The car looks very stable, and the car is just working great for him, and that's what you want.
I have an update for you on the pilot of the Sprint PCS car, what his new son's name will be. Seems like he and his wife have narrowed it down to one of two names. Sam Schmidt tells me that you can bet on the fact that his name will be Spencer. He's yellow.
We have a yellow on the race course. And the reason for the yellow is a toe in, as you see Sam Schmidt getting out of the throttle right there.
What everybody will do now, they'll get instructions from their crew chief to turn the fuel down. So they go to a leaner mixture because they want to save as much fuel as possible. That's why we heard at the beginning of the race.
We will not pit here. We will not pit.
He's not going to pit. We heard that.
10-4, 10-4.
So if Scott Goodyear's not going to pit, I don't think we have to worry. We can go away and pay some bills. We're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500 presented by MCI WorldCom.
The Indy Racing League is heading to Pikes Peak International Raceway August 29th, and Fox Sports Net will bring you all the action live. Don't miss the Colorado 200 Sunday, August 29th at 4 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Net. Right now we're watching the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500 on board with the race leader. This is Scott Goodyear, and we've completed a total of 53 laps so far. Stefan Gregoire in for a quick pit stop while we're under yellow for toe-in. That's where we're watching right now, the toe-in for Steve Knapp. The top 5 quickly: Scott Goodyear, Greg Ray is second, Mark Dismore is third, Lazier is now fourth, and Kenny Brack riding in 5th position.
The car that really is beginning to show well is this car, the Team Tresselli car, number 33 for Jacques Lazier. He has moved into the 10th position, and he is getting around pretty well. You know, they're sponsored by Warner Brothers Stores, and there's a new sponsor there. And, well, let's let Joe Tresselli tell us himself, Calvin. What's the new sponsor on the side of this car?
I see we have a new sponsor on the car this weekend. Joe, tell us about that.
Actually, it's new, but still the same Warner Brothers team. Actually, it's the Iron Giant movie, animated feature, cartoon that the kids are going to love, so we're happy to have it on the car. It's great fun. The kids love it.
Jack's having a great run. He's up to 10th. He has the fastest lap of the race at 2:15. This is a great weekend for the young rookie.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, we're excited about it. We just hope we can maintain this pace, and we'll be up front soon.
We talk about the chemistry in these teams, guys, and Ari, I think this team is better than any out on pit road right now.
Well, they sure are having a great time. Joe is a great guy, great personality, and he's also having a lot of fun in his racing. And Raul Bourgel struggling, running in 24th place right now, and since he was that far back in the field, they figured we'd come in and make some adjustments.
And they did major adjustments on the B-Fast shopper car. Now, this team, Ted Brandt and company, really had high hopes for this Riley and Scott chassis. They felt the fact that it doesn't have a lot of downforce would benefit them on the 1.5-mile tracks. But thus far, the B-Fast Aero Services machine for Boiselle has not performed like they would have expected it to.
Putting some turn in the front wing right there, working on the setup on that machine. We're still under yellow, and he'll catch up with the field. Here's
on the exit. We should maybe do right front wing. One finger.
A little conversation on the radio right now.
Zero on the back.
The one finger is...
One finger means we've got going to expect the green flag next time by. You know, when you talk about the wings here and the downforce that's created, fellas, we're talking about as much as 4,500 pounds of downforce with these Pep Boys Indy Racing League cars. What is the actual weight of an IRL car? How about 1,650 pounds? So what you're talking about is creating the kind of downforce that if we could put a roof around here, they could race on the ceiling, never fall down, at only about 100 miles an hour.
I love that explanation. I never quite understood it because You know, sometimes we go around these tracks like Jeff Ward came in because he's very loose. He didn't have that kind of downforce you were talking about.
Lap 55, and we're back to green. And here we go. Out of 4, Scott Goodyear brings the field, stretching his lead on Greg Ray.
Scott has pretty good restarts tonight, but also he showed that in Texas where he really tries to get a jump on the field, and it worked good for him. And right now he's opened up a little bit, but those guys are close enough to pick up the draft again.
Watching Eddie Cheever taking a bead on.
Look at how he closes in on him and just goes around the outside. Eddie's handling really good and just, you know, working phenomenally tonight.
Moving into 7th position.
We told you at the start of the night that he did not do well by himself, but once he got in the draft and was able to utilize the IRL slingshot, Eddie Cheever and that new Infiniti power plant. Now, Frank Hansowitz from Infiniti tells me that what they've done there is they've added some low-end torque. They've made some changes there. So when you get down at about 9,700 RPM, you're still building the same kind of horsepower that you are when you're at 98 or 99.
150 laps to go. The 30th race in the history of the Indy Racing League. You're watching it here on Fox Sports Net. Goodyear the leader. Ray, second place. Dismore from Greenfield, Indiana, is in 3rd, and Lazier has climbed up into the top 5. He's 4th after starting in the 8th.
There's Sam Smith just past Hamilton for 8th place, and Sam is moving up to where he was before, which is to the front.
And I think the car that's getting a tow from him is the Jacques Lazier car. And don't forget, Jacques Lazier led the last time we were on a quad oval at Texas Motor Speedway, led the race, and in fact, he's the only Lazier in 1999 to lead a race. He told his brother that, and his brother said, I don't want to hear it.
I mean, he's running awfully strong because the fastest guy on the racetrack a little while ago was Sam Smith, and Jacques is closing in on him. And in fact, Jacques Lazier is one of the few drivers on 214 laps.
Let's go to Vince Welsh.
Scott Goodyear is your leader. Very interesting. He started the race wearing sunglasses. You talked about it in the pre-race, how bright that sun could be going down the backstretch. He recently radioed into Kevin Blanche on the Pennzoil Panther team and said, remind me next time in to take off my sunglasses. And Blanche said, you're the one that bought them. Throw them out the window. Scott Goodyear said, it wasn't in the budget. I'll keep them on to the pit stop.
And Buddy Lazier has just been passed by Kenny Brack, so Kenny's moving up to the front. He's in 4th place right now.
You hear him say, Buddy Lazier saying, I'm right behind him and I lose the front end. That's the type of wind that comes off this 6-degree wing with the 1-inch wicker bill.
Well, what's happening there is the car will actually push, but the front end is being like lifted up, and the car is really floating as you turn into the corner, and you have to wait for the front to settle down. We had that. Stick on the bar, so that should help the push, but the bars don't really help that much because that's definitely an aerodynamic imbalance.
Scott Harrington running in 15th position right now. Calvin Fish has an update for us.
Well, the problem on the Certainty car, Scott's left side mirrors come loose. It really creates a problem when the faster cars come up underneath him going into the turn, so he's really relying on the spotter. If they get a caution period, they may try to change the mirror during that.
The Certainty car lost their primary engine in late warm-ups last evening. And if it were not for the generosity of Jim Wright, the man that builds the Certainty team and Harrington Motorsports' engines, Harrington wouldn't have even started this race. Jim Wright went to him and said, hey, look, I'll lend you an engine, and that's what they're using right now tonight.
Quality people working in the Indy Racing League as we watch the battle on the racetrack.
And that happens a lot in this series. I mean, that's really nice about this series. Everybody wants to win, but they also want to see the other guy be able to start the race. Last year, I had 4 engines go away in Texas, and we were loaned an engine from Scott Goodyear's team to start the race. So it's a nice, you know, amateur-type professionalism that's going on out here.
As we look to the inside, dipping to the inside of Scott Sharp's Delphi Automotive Machine, there is Eddie Cheever one more time, and that is the battle for the 6th position. And look who follows him through. Sam Schmidt, the Sprint PCS entry, has now put Scott Sharp back to 8th. Schmidt has moved up to 7th spot.
He's charging once again. Like you said, he's doing a good job with his concentration tonight. Didn't have a very good start, stalled the car in a pit stop, but Sam Schmidt charging after 66 of 208. And look at the lead up front right here. Greg Ray and Goodyear battling.
We heard our pit guys say that Greg Ray made some chassis adjustments in hopes of being able to find the handle one more time.
It looked like he was going to make a charge going into one, but he dropped back a little bit. He also has that problem, a little bit of the front floating a little bit. It's very common at this racetrack, more than actually Texas, but the same problem occurs at Charlotte as well.
Greg Ray loves these types of racetracks. 2 seconds at Texas Motor Speedway, and now he comes here where his best finish was 24th last year, but that was due to an accident.
Ran into Greg Ray's mom at the airport after her son had won the race at Phoenix. What a happy lady she was, and Rain-X telemetry running at 214, 215 miles an hour. There you see the RPM and the throttle.
Now there's the big difference as we watch that Rain-X telemetry. Last night in qualifying, that green bar would have remained planted all the way to the right.
You're running faster than the car in front of you. You're running faster.
Traffic doesn't play a role here. He's coming up behind this guy. He's going to get a nice draft off of him, so no passing opportunity for Greg Ray here. He's running faster than the guy ahead of him, we heard, but
and the car they just passed was John Hollinsworth. His team doing a nice job getting him back on the track.
Sam Schmidt has now moved into the 5th position. He's broken in the top 5, and here comes Jacques Lazier.
no respect now. Jacques Lazier is ready to pass his big brother and tell him, hey man, I'm here to race. Race you.
Wouldn't you like to hear that conversation?
Well, you know, they're going to have a lot to talk about over the winter there in Aspen.
There's your leader. That's exactly right. Your leader is Goodyear right now, being pursued by Greg Ray, lap 71.
You know what these guys are also thinking about, especially Scott Goodyear? I would like to lead the most laps tonight because it's going to give me points. 2 points, very important for that championship chase.
More importantly, though, you can go cha-ching for $10,000 because they were able to earn that $10,000 first at 99 from Firestone Tires and commemorating Firestone's 99 years in the tire business.
You were talking about Scott Goodyear wanting to lead laps. He led 93 of the 208 last year and finished 4th here in Atlanta. Mark Dismore's coming into the pits. Calvin Fish.
I just spoke to Tom Kelly. He said he was very happy with the balance of the car, but he's in a little bit out of sequence with the rest of the guys. He's still running strong lap times, unlike his teammate Scott Sharp. And I believe we just heard Mark say he's lost a cylinder on the car, possibly. We heard some radio communication there. But Scott Sharp definitely has a big understeer in the car. He's talking about 206, 207.
There's no point in continuing here because, as you saw, a little bit of smoke coming out of the rear of the tailpipe, and that's not going to last long.
Battle for 3rd place. Kenny Breck in 3rd, and here comes Sam Schmidt. Thinking about it, let's go to Vince Welch.
It's amazing that Kenny Breck is running 3rd, but because he's complaining that the car is still not handling. They've got a bad push that they want to take care of at the next pit stop. But, you know, Kenny Breck has a tendency to just hang around and fight through the struggles with the car and all of a sudden be there at the end. They want for not having a very good handling car and running 3rd. It's quite an accomplishment. His teammate Billy Boat also complaining that the car is pushing badly and it's not wanting to turn in the corners. A.J. Foyt just huddled with the folks from Goodyear. A.J. told me they're having a bit of a tire problem.
Well, 2 cars that are not having a tire problem, Vince Welch, are just negotiating some passes. Sam Schmidt has broken into 3rd spot. Kenny Breck directly behind him in the power team entry. Right here is now feeling the hot breath of 2 cars. Eddie Cheever dips to the inside of Jacques Lazier. And when we come back, you're going to see one whale of a battle for the top 5 positions here.
That's right. We'll be right back on Fox Sports Net as Goodyear's our leader. We'll be right back. Back watching the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500 with Buddy Lazier into the pits in the 91 Delta Faucet machine. We're hearing that the race leader, Scott Goodyear, will be pitting. And there he is, in fact, slowing down and standing by is Vince Welch. But first, Ari?
Well, very crucial here is that these are green green lap pit stops, so it's very crucial for the teams to do a good job.
All right, Vince, it's yours.
Scott Goodyear always seems to run well.
Don't forget your sunglasses. Don't forget your sunglasses.
You just heard Kevin Blanche talking to Scott Goodyear. Kevin is out in the pit area waving his arm, so Goodyear will know exactly where he comes. Blanche, the crew chief, will change the front tire. Watch Goodyear. He'll take off the glasses. Just threw them out. They're making a slight adjustment with the tire pressure because the car has not been handled to Goodyear's liking. They make a slight wing adjustment as well. Off the jacks and away. Scott
Goodyear, a very solid stop, but as mentioned, a stop under green.
Very solid stop, 11.9 seconds is a good stop.
So Greg Ray assumes the lead, but we assume he will be into the pits here shortly.
Now this gets a little dicey for all the front runners because what you've got a problem with Eddie Cheever, Vince Welch.
He stalled.
Eddie Cheever stalled coming out of the pits. I'm not sure if he had a problem with the clutch or just stalled it. Now they're firing him up again and pushing him away. Let's see if he can get away this time. Still struggling a bit. Now he finally gets away.
What leads me to wonder, Ari, is the fact that because of the high-speed oval and that Infinity engine, is Eddie Cheever using some different gear ratios, and maybe that's causing the problem getting in and out of the pits? We'll have to wait for an answer, because right now, the guy that replaced you in the Sprint PCS car, he had taken over the lead, and now he pulls onto pit road for service.
Well, you saw it right, that he left the pits as if he was in a taller gear and just couldn't get going.
Yeah.
Been there before, and you know, it's not really a taller gear. It's when you stall the engine, then the fuel gets shut off, and then when you restart it, it could be a problem.
You notice that time when they dropped the jack, he had already put it into gear, and he lights those tires up. Those Firestones were just a smoke in here.
Yeah, he gave it a lot of mojo there.
And now Greg Ray, your leader, will come to the service of John Menard's team, led by John O'Gara and team manager Thomas Knapp.
So a couple other names now shuffling towards the top. We see that Robbie Unser is running in the top 5, along with Stefan Gregoire. And Calvin Fish is in the pit area. Calvin?
I just spoke to Tom Knapp. He said Greg's in very fast. He gets it slowed down. Looks like he's going to miss his pit for a moment. He's very happy with the balance of the car. No adjustments at this point is what the team is saying, unless they get some more radio communication during the start. 4 Firestones going on. Remember, Greg scored the first victory this season for the Firestone tires, and he's out of here. A clean pit stop for Team Menard.
He lost 1.1 second over Scott Goodyear.
Crash on the course. We have a crash involving 3 cars on the course.
Ronnie John Cox is one of them right here.
Steve Knapp is down on the inside.
And Big Daddy's car is here. Donnie Beechler, if I'm correct.
So 3 cars involved in a crash on lap 87. Jeff Ward climbing out of his machine, the purple machine up top here. Ronnie John Cox involved in the 22 machine. And one other machine down low on the track.
Everybody seems to be moving inside the cockpit. There's Steve Knapp. Let's take a look at what happened.
Not Donnie Beechler.
Wow. Actually, 4 cars involved. Stefan Gregoire also tagged the wall. So 4 cars involved in that accident.
One accident happened, 1 car slowed down for the accident, the other car hit that car from behind.
All right, so we've had an accident here on the racetrack, 87 laps completed. We'll have a complete update when we come back on Fox Sports Net. Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500, lap 89. We've had an accident out of turn 2, 4 cars involved so far, 4 drivers involved. Here are the drivers: Ronnie John Cox, Jeff Ward, Steve Knapp, and Stefan Gregoire, all involved in the accident.
Let's take a look. There is Stefan Gregoire. Now, everything took place in front of Gregoire and Ronnie John Cox. But it was a domino effect after Steve Knapp came together with Jeff Ward when John Cox ran into the back of Stefan Gregoire.
2 separate accidents almost, and they came
You know what,
together.
Ari? You know what that I think might have happened? We talked about it during the drivers' meeting, and that's the fact that below the white line there is another seam to this racetrack. Steve Knapp was well below the white line, could have gotten the left side tires onto that seam, and it could have literally sent him back careening into the cars.
The seam right here, that's where the banking stops being 24 degrees. Then it goes to 15 degrees. Then it goes to about 11 degrees.
John Cox involved.
That is just sheer luck that Kenny Bragg has here. He went to the left. Everybody moved up towards the wall, and he was able to get through. Steve Knapp spun out, got collected by Jeff Ward. Then behind him was Stefan Gregoire. He got out of the throttle, got hit behind by Ronnie John Cox. that's a sequence of events.
You know, you talk about the fact that things can happen quickly. There are the skid marks from this accident, and those skid marks, as long as they are, they were put down in less than 2 seconds.
4 drivers involved in an accident. We'll update their conditions when we come back right here in Atlanta. Hope you stay with us on Fox Sports Net. 91 laps completed now. We're watching right now because the accident on the race course during the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500, the 6th stop of the Indy Racing League. And let's go down for an update right now. First off with Calvin Fish. Calvin.
An update on the Steve Knapp machine, and they fixed the electrical problem. He had some understeer in the car. They made a slight wing change. And Steve was really working with the weight jacker in the car. He said to Bob Hunter after the incident, it just got away from me. It loosened up too much, guys.
All right, let's go to Vince Welch now. Vince.
You can see the team working on the car of Mark Dismore, taking parts off the backup machine and putting them on the primary car. Mark, explain to us what happened and what's going to happen, hopefully, when you get back on the track.
Well, I guess we had a header brake, and you know, it lost so much power. It lost 1,000 RPM, and I just, you know, I thought we were done. I thought we dropped the valve or something, although I did tell the guys it sounded like a header broke, but it just lost all its power. So the guys are putting it back together, and maybe some other people will have some luck like I have out there tonight, and maybe we can get some points. But it's really disappointing, Vince. I mean, Tom and Jim Kelly have been so good to me, and we got great sponsors. Inside WorldCom and Brian Hingen there. They're great people to work with, and they don't deserve this. And, well, I don't know if I had an ancestor make somebody mad 100,000 years ago or what's going on here, but sure would be nice to get some good luck, and you know, maybe Dover. I sure as heck ain't ever given up, and I hope all the people that wish me well, and there's been a lot of them this weekend, just stick with me. We'll get it.
If it weren't for bad luck, I don't think Mark Dismore would have any luck at all, guys.
Well, you can hear the emotion in Mark Dismore's voice. It is really starting to get to them. There are the remains of Ronnie Johncock's car being towed back to the garage area. In the meantime, let's look. Now, let's freeze it right here for a second. Ari, you were talking about this area right here. Now, tell us the difference in the degree of banking down there.
The white line here is where 24-degree banking stops, and then below that, about 3 feet, is another seam that we don't see. Actually, we see it right here, and it continues here. And that's about 15 degrees. This area here is 15 degrees.
Now, what happens there is you can see that one accident took place up on the high side, and just barreling into that accident was Ronnie Johncock's. And you said it the best. You said you just don't have time to react. You're at full throttle at 212 miles an hour. You see it unfolding, but it's like being on the interstate with only 3 times as fast. You simply don't
just mash onto the brakes, because you don't do that on these ovals. You do it a little bit, but things happen so quickly.
Again, 4 drivers involved in the accident. Steve Knapp, Ronnie Johncock, Stephane Gregoire, and Jeff Ward. Will have more from Atlanta after this. And welcome back to the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. We have the race update for you. So far, we've had 3 cautions for 19 laps. The field average, 146 miles an hour. 4 lead changes. Scott Goodyear has led the most laps, 50 so far. Greg Ray shown as the leader. Now, let's kind of show you, go through the field and show you how the field lines up right now, as we now have 94 laps. Greg Ray is your race leader of the Glidden Menards machine up front. Scott Goodyear is second. Panther Pennzoil running in second place.
But we're actually taking a look at the car right behind Scott Goodyear, and that's the Petromali entry, and that's for Robbie Unser. Robbie Unser currently posted in the 9th position.
That's right. There you go on board with that Pennzoil machine. And Scott Goodyear looking for his 3rd win of the season after 94 laps. So Goodyear's in second. Let's move down to 3 and 4. Sam Schmidt has battled his way back into 3 and 4. Buddy Lazier is 5th. Davey Hamilton in the Spinal Conquest machine.
Davey Hamilton driving for Rick Dallas as we ride and take a look at the Sprint PCS entry for Sam Schmidt. We'll go a little further back in the field here.
Billy Boat has dropped back to 11th now. He started on the pole. Scott Sharp is also 12th. Raul Boycell, the B-Fast shopper, 13th. Donnie Beechler has climbed. Johnny Unser, Tybo, Delta Fawcett, now 15th. Eddie Cheevers followed back to 16th after climbing into the top 5.
Car number 91, Buddy Lazier in the Delta Fawcett Tybo entry. The Bradley Martz Savomat car for the Denver, Colorado-based team. And that, of course, is former Walt Disney World 200 winner and that is Buzz Calkins. Billy Boat, who started on the pole, Dave, has now gone one lap down in the Harrah's Resorts Casinos A.J. Foyt number 11. Boat is being posted in the 11th spot, but one lap off the pace.
We'll watch him work. Here's the Scott Sharp. Sharp in the Delphi Automotive Machine, looking for good results tonight.
He's 12th.
In the 12th position right now.
Raul Boisel in the B-Fast Shopper Ted Brandt Aero Services car. You know, Ted Brandt is the guy that's building that domed 1 mile racing facility.
I got to see that when it's
outside of the Pittsburgh area airport. And this is car number 3, and it's got a little bit of a NASCAR association. You see the Dale Earnhardt color scheme? Well, that's because they fly Earnhardt and Earnhardt Racing all over the country in NASCAR races.
And Donnie Beechler, the Big Daddy's Machine. Have you had a chance to try this barbecue sauce yet? I love barbecue, so I can tell you that the Big Daddy's is good stuff. The sponsorship on side of that the Donnie Beechler Machine, he's now in 14th position.
So all I have to do is back the trailer up to Dave's house with the barbecue sauce. Ty Bowe, we told you, is the sponsor of Johnny Unser in car number 92. Well, he has tried to use those martial arts to get to the front, but to no avail. He is still working in towards the back of the pack.
And Eddie Cheever, as we mentioned, now 16th. Eddie Cheever, Children's Beverage Group, climbing his way, and had a good
battle.
Yeah, he had a good run going. Got up top 5, and then came sliding back.
Ducking to the inside there, you saw the Mayfield Dairy Farms car for Jack Miller and the Certainteed Building Products Machine for Scott Harrington, who came off such a great run at Pikes Peak International Raceway. As we said, using a borrowed Brayton Engineering engine tonight. And we're going to take a look at some of the other runners. That's the Dennis McCormick Team Losi Fast Rod Machine for hometown hero Jimmy Kite. Kite spending his time back with his mom and dad in his Georgia home, sleeping in his old bed, and he said, the greatest thing about being back in Stockbridge, Georgia, I get to eat my favorite food. And I said, what's that? Mom's sketty.
Mom's sketty. That sounds pretty good right now. Robbie McGee is 19th, and of course we know that Steve Freed, the mechanic who was hit at Indianapolis, is watching from his home outside of Cleveland. We wish him well tonight as he continues his recovery and doing quite well. And Jack Miller is back racing.
You know, we've changed Jack Miller from the racing dentist because of Mayfield Dairy Farms as his new sponsor, along with Folgers Coffee. So what do we call him, Ari?
The milkman.
Does the milkman deliver it?
Tonight he's struggling a little bit, but he's still out there.
Some of the other cars that are already out, Tice Carlson in the Hubbard Photographics car has had his complete nose cone replaced, and they are trying to stay back out on the racetrack. And then we told you about Stefan Gregoire, Ronnie John Cox, Jeff Ward, Mark Dismore, Hollinsworth has been in and out of the pits, and of course Steve Knapp. Calvin?
Ron Hamblegarn is concerned. Buddy Lazier is currently running 5th, but he had to run through the debris and monitoring the tire pressures. How does everything look?
Everything looks real good. We got a real fast race car. We're making little changes. He still has a push, but we're monitoring the tires. We don't show any air going down on the Delta Fawcett car, so we're pretty confident we can bring her home.
Things are looking pretty good here in the Hamblegarn pit. Vince Welsh?
The aftermath of the accident, Jeff Ward obviously standing by with me, and Stefan Gregoire and Ronnie John Cox have also walked out of the hospital. First of all, Jeff, how are you feeling? Are you okay?
Yeah, I feel fine. It was just unfortunate. I mean, we had a couple of problems at the beginning of the race with our wheel and dropped us back, so we really weren't in the hunt for the win, but we needed the points. But Steve just got loose there, and there was really nothing I could do. He went down below the apron, and I just kept my foot in it and think I could make it by, and then he shot back up. And it's pretty hard hit, but he was conscious and talking, and I went up to see if he was okay, and he seemed to be fine, but I haven't heard on how his condition is yet.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jeff Ward, and we'll certainly continue to update you on the progress of Steve Knapp. But as you heard Jeff Ward say, Steve was conscious and able to visit for a short bit, so hopefully the news will continue to improve, and we'll have a chance to visit with Stefan Gregoire here momentarily as well.
Some great hustle there by Vince Welsh down in the pit area and all the crews getting us an update. Again, Ronnie John Cox okay, Stefan Gregoire is okay, Jeff Ward okay. There you see the cars involved in the accident, a lot of damage.
A lot of scrapyard there.
There's the first 99 from Firestone Tires is going to go to Greg Ray. He banks $10,000 from the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company. And let's check in with Vince Welch, who finally gets to talk to Stefan Gregoire.
Well, we hate to talk with him under these circumstances, but Stefan, it's good to see that you've at least walked out of the hospital. Any idea of how it all unfolded out there on the track?
Yeah,
first of all, the track was very slippery, so everybody was sliding. I think everybody was surprised about the track conditions. And then so we made some adjustments with the team, and my car became better. We were running second. It was a very good race strategy, and Steve Knapp lost it in front of me, and Jeff Ward was right behind him, and I was behind Jeff Ward. I was clear until someone hit me in the back, so it's a big shame. I'm very sorry we had a lot of people from Max Mill, Tokheim, Viking Air Tools. We had many people from the sponsors. It's a big shame because I think we would have been okay.
So we're looking at the replay. Can you talk more about the course, the track conditions, and maybe what some of these guys will be facing as the race progresses?
Well, hopefully the track will get better as the race progresses, because it's going to get cooler, the grip is going to be better, the downforce is going to increase. At the beginning it was very, very dusty, a lot of dust. We could hardly see. I mean, in the straightaway it was very bad. The sun was coming down entering turn 1, so we could it was very hard to see. I mean, so it was not easy at the beginning. I think the race is going to be better at the end, actually.
Glad that Stefan Gregoire is okay. You know, it's tough enough, guys, running this racetrack at 210 plus, much less with the sun in your eyes.
If you take a look at the point standings, Jeff Ward alluded to it. If they ended right now, Jeff Ward would lose a spot, Greg Ray would move up, Kenny Brack would gain 2 spots, Sam Schmidt would gain 6. We'll be back.
Welcome back. Tune into Fox Sports News Primetime. Tonight, host Keith Olbermann and Kevin Frazier bring you all the day's scores, highlights, and breaking stories tonight on Fox Sports Net. I hope you'll check that out.
You know, it's the 30th anniversary when men first walked on that moon, and it was indeed, as Neil Armstrong said, a giant leap for mankind. Calvin?
Stefan Gregoire talked about the dust and debris on the racetrack. This is a tear-off from Sam Schmidt. He did 2 laps with his tear-off, guys, and just watch the visibility change. They put it in front of the lens. That's the type of visibility that these guys have got to work with. 2 laps, remember, they've got 208 to go. They typically have about 4 or 5 of these on the helmets that they discard.
What if you put a little CD2 on it? No, I guess it really wouldn't help, would it?
And sometimes these tear-offs, they're sometimes hard to keep on because of the turbulence and the wind that hits your head. I've had an instance where all 4 of them got ripped off after 2 laps, and then you're really in trouble.
When you talk about goalies, they like to work on their equipment. Drivers do as well with their tear-offs. They all have a little technique.
102 laps completed. We'll be right back to Atlanta. Jim Rome has the last word weeknights on Fox Sports Net. Don't miss the Nightline of sports talk shows weeknights at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. Well, we had an accident on lap 88 involving Steve Knapp, Ronnie John Cox, Stefan Gregoire, and Jeff Ward. John Cox, Gregoire, and Ward are out of the hospital and okay. We need an update on Steve Knapp, and here's Vince Welch.
Steve Knapp from ISM Racing. You see the helicopter. He's about to be airlifted out of the racetrack area to a local hospital. The only thing we do know at this point, he was awake when he was taken from the hospital area to the helicopter. And of course, Jeff Ward mentioned in an earlier interview that Steve was awake, somewhat alert, and he did not want to speculate on his condition. But we do know now that they are airlifting Steve Knapp to a local hospital. We hope to have a further update in just a moment. But I guess the good news, he was awake as they took him to the helicopter.
Dr. Henry Bach and his fine staff here in the critical care unit at Atlanta Motor Speedway really do a terrific job, just like a miniature emergency room located right in the inside. You know, fellas, the Delphi Halfway Award, $10,000 for the leader of lap 104. Lo and behold, it's the leader of the same Firestone First at 99 award. Under yellow, Greg Ray has now banked $20,000. Now he gets to go back to green with a little more cash.
That's right, folks. Thanks for sticking with us. 104 laps completed. We're at the halfway point. The green flag comes back out at Atlanta, and Greg Ray underway.
Great jump on the field, and we saw there a great battle with Buddy Lazier right there with Kenny Brack, and behind him Sam Schmidt and Davey Hamilton.
Now the point is the Pennsylvania Panther.
Goodyear.
Scott Goodyear, and they clutch.
That was close.
That was wasn't close. That was contact. You could see the dust that came up from Buddy Lazier's car in Kenny Breck's power team number 14. Lazier goes to the inside, tries to get the draft of Scott Goodyear, and then thinks maybe I can follow Breck around for that position.
You're watching exciting Pep Boys Indy Racing League action live from Atlanta on Fox Sports Net. This is Buddy Lazier in 4th position.
Now remember, Lazier was the guy that liked to get the jump on those restarts. Seems like his car is able to come up to full song very quickly. And look who's right behind him. Oh! So close was Sam Schmidt in the black number 99. He almost collided with the Pennzoil Panther car.
Scott Goodyear has a problem because it's very unlikely for him to drop back like he did on that restart. So he's been falling back, and the other guys have been going forward. And Greg Ray is out there about 4 seconds ahead of Kenny Bragg.
And the leader is coming in. The leader is coming in.
Very unusual. Bad timing for a pit stop on the green, so he has a problem, that's for sure.
So Kenny Breck is the man to watch now. Kenny Breck.
Buddy Lazier right now taking the lead from Kenny Bragg.
Wow.
In turn 1.
So at least now Big Brother can say to little brother, hey, I've led an IRL race in 1999 as well. So move over, Jacques. Big Buddy is back in the hunt.
Still has to cross that line.
But he's led the lap.
There's little brother charging. Jacques Lazier running 7th.
Going by teammate Johnny Unser.
There, look at Eddie Cheever just blow right by these guys. He's on a mission again after that bad pit stop.
That car, that yellow car, was Eliseo Salazar. And last night we alluded to the fact that Salazar was considering retirement. Well, indeed, it's true. He's going to go in 2001. He will make his final ride. He calls it the final Odyssey. But right now, we don't need a final Odyssey for Sam Schmidt.
Oh, Buddy Lazier's up front. Kenny Breck 2nd. Sam Schmidt back up to 3rd. And Goodyear's dropped to 4th.
Sam Schmidt looks like again he has the strongest car here tonight, and he's going to take the lead here pretty soon from Buddy. Here he goes. He's looking at him on the inside. Now he's going to the high side.
You ever notice, Dave, that there seems to maybe just be a little bit of favoritism?
For some reason, he likes that Schmidt car.
You know what happens when he's out there racing?
You're racing.
I'm racing with him, and right now he's going to look for an outside line because he likes the outside line, he said. But we're only at lap 111. He's still got a lot of laps to go. He doesn't have to be in such a hurry. And he knows that Greg Ray is gone, and Greg Ray is out of competition for them for the moment. I know Greg Ray has dropped back quite a bit. He's not going to be in contention anymore.
Just some fantastic racing going on the racetrack right now. Lazier is the leader. Sam Schmidt is 2nd. There's Buddy Lazier. You can see his head buffeting around. A little turbulence out there.
You know, though, Buddy Lazier is always one that's fairly animated in the cockpit.
Yeah.
You notice he's always turning, he's always twisting, he's always bobbing and weaving. You think almost like he's in a sparring match. It's just his technique in the car.
Yeah, because if you look at Sam Schmidt's hands, and you know, his hands are very quiet in the cockpit. See, very quiet.
Look out! Oh, no, hang on.
That could have been a very big crash, but it wasn't.
Lazier and Sam Schmidt, folks, here on Fox Sports Net. Involved in an accident, lap 113, and you saw it just like they saw it. We right on board. Frustration in the eyes of Sam Schmidt.
How calm was Sam Schmidt? When he was collided with, he actually held that steering wheel and kept looking for an opportunity to get some track bite and be able to gain control of that runaway IRL car. That impressed me riding on board with him.
Well, I think he was holding on because he was up in the air. He was climbing Lazier's car, and that's why I yelled out, because this could have been nasty over-the-wall kind of stuff. And luckily enough, the car came down, you know, got some pavement on the tires, and just not a bad crash in the end, but it could have been very bad.
Tough night for Ron Hemmelgarn, Calvin Fish.
It certainly is. He's speaking to Buddy on the radio right now, asking him if he's okay. We'll try and break in here.
Are you okay?
Ron, any word from Buddy?
No contact at all. No, we haven't heard from him at all. So
you copy?
all we know is Schmidt just broadsided him.
Sorry to see you're out, Ron.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, we had it. So hopefully Buddy's okay.
Okay, well, they were dialing this car in. Just an update on Greg Ray. Something is broken in the engine. They believe it's a belt or a chain. And also Scott Goodyear, very concerned on that restart. The front tires would not work. He was really complaining about the balance of the car. Big understeer.
Yeah, it's a tough break, though, for Buddy Lazier and Ron Hemmelgarn, because they just added that brand new sponsor, Valurite, and they are the makers of the world's largest makers of cutting tools. And it's really tough because they had gone and battled right from the front.
And there you go, Buddy Lazier climbing out of the car, and Sam Schmidt, so we can tell you both drivers are okay. We watched Lazier talking there. You heard Ron Hemmelgarn saying he had no communication with him, but we want to quickly tell you that Lazier was, in fact, talking to the safety folks, and he is out of the car now. Ari?
It's not, you know, you don't have communication always after you hit the wall, because stuff breaks, and here the front cover is gone, and that's where the antenna is attached to, so that's pretty common.
Take a look at what happened between Buddy Lazier and Sam Schmidt. Right behind Buzz Calkins. Right there is Calkins. Contact. Front end of the Sprint PCS Schmidt car is hung up on Lazier's Delta Fawcett car. And what started at the beginning of the back straightaway ends going into turn 3. And we stop it right there. You can see the contact, and you see how high off the ground the car is. Go ahead and roll it.
Now he's going along for the ride on top of Lazier's side pod, and he's very close to his head with the right front wheel right there.
And look how close Kenny Breck came to being collected in that accident as an innocent bystander. At 215 miles an hour, I wonder, did Breck just close his eyes? You know, guys, the other thing, how close that was, Ari, you alluded to it. The area where they hit, down to the inside, watching the left side there.
Got some pavement on the tires.
Look at that wheel come up.
Tires and just you know.
That's the signaling pit. That's the signaling pit, and all those guys just ducked down.
He was.
You know, this one is really hard to call, because did Sam go up? Did Buddy come down? It was just too close to call that.
Now, Ari, I have a question for you. You say that sometimes when you don't have an accident, it's called a moment.
This was a big moment.
This was a big moment?
And a long one, too, because they had a lot of time to think about what could happen.
A very frightening experience, but we can tell you that Sam Schmidt and Buddy Lazier out of the car after this accident. 116 laps completed in Atlanta. We'll be right back. Tune into Fox Sports Net Sunday night at 9 o'clock for the show that critics call the 60 Minutes of Sports Television. Join host Chris Myers on Going Deep Sunday on Fox Sports Net. Now we're back to racing. We're under yellow right now at the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. Kenny Breck is the leader after an accident involving a couple of drivers, Buddy Lazier and Sam Schmidt. They're both okay and out of the car.
And you know who benefited from that accident was Buzz Calkins in car number 12. Calkins was directly in front of those guys, and with this yellow, he gets his lap back, so he's back on the same lap with the leaders in the 7th spot. Now for Billy Boat, however, it's just a case that Kenny Breck, his teammate, is the one that's got him a lap down. So that leads you to speculate, Ari, do you let him get by at the drop of the green flag, or do you keep him a lap down?
I don't think Ford will let him do that. He can't afford to do that because he's leading the race. He wants to stay ahead, and he's not going to let Billy go by. And if Billy turns out to be slower than him, what is he going to do? Just stay behind him? So let's see how that plays out, but it's definitely an opportunity for Billy to get back on the lead lap.
Well, Skip Ball has had a couple of close calls tonight, but right now the Calvin Fish, his evening has ended prematurely.
Yeah, they're very frustrated down here. They had such a great race car. He took it to the front twice, Skip. What happened out there? What did Sam relate to you on the radio?
He said that he didn't know why Lazier turned into him. He was side by side coming off of 2. He had a run on him, and it looked like there was a slower car ahead, and Buddy probably was moving over to make room to get around that, and didn't realize Sam was there.
Tough day for you guys.
Yeah, I think it was our race. I mean, we were definitely the fastest car in segments. We were at the back, we went to the front, we moved back, lost a little bit of spots on the restarts. Still, we're up front. So, I mean, one of those deals.
This team had a lot of momentum, guys. They finished 3rd at Texas, 2nd at Pikes Peak. So close to victory here in Atlanta.
Ari, your call on that one.
Well, from that angle that we just saw, you could see that Buddy Lazier did come down a little bit on Sam, and it doesn't take much if you're running this close at these high speeds, and the result was a huge crash, but both guys came out pretty good.
Lap 119, the green will come back out as we restart, going 208 laps, and here's the restart.
You know the two cars to watch? Right there, Davey Hamilton in the Spinal Conquest car. Eddie Cheever in car number 51, the blue and yellow Infinity-powered machine. They are both now in the top 5 positions, and they're closing on the leaders. Cheever goes to the outside of Hamilton.
And Davey Hamilton, 2 abreast again, racing through the turns, and look at Cheever. He's got a car that's hooked up tonight.
Cheever is able to maintain that momentum and just go around the outside, and here's on the outside of Scott Goodyear. Ahead of Goodyear is Billy Boat, who's still trying to get back on that lead lap, and ahead of him is the leader, Kenny Bragg.
And so is Cheever. Cheever is trying to get his lap back, and I'll tell you what, if he keeps going the way he is, and maybe he could take Billy Boat with him, they've just got to get by Kenny Bragg now, as Goodyear in the Pennzoil Panther car remains in that 2nd position.
That's right, Kenny Bragg is the race leader. Look who's challenging on the outside, watching Davey Hamilton's up there. Jacques Lazier having a strong run as well, too. Jacques Lazier now in 2nd. Lazier has climbed to 2nd.
All right, here we go. Those 2 guys are back on the lead lap for now.
We call it being on the tail end of the lead lap, but they are out front. If a caution should come out, these 2 cars would go all the way around back to the front of the field.
And it's possible when your car is good. We saw it with Sam Schmidt, who came back from 20th, close to leading this race.
Watch the battle for 2nd place right there. Goodyear and Jacques Lazier have been dicing it out. And look at Jacques Lazier making a move here. He wants to lead.
He wants to make up for his brother's misery, I'm sure. And he's had a great car all night. He's been running very good.
He has the lead. The rookie climbs to the lead now.
You know, there was a lot of speculation when Team Truselli named Jacques Lazier to replace Roberto Moreno, but he has proven, at least on the quad ovals, that Jacques Lazier, rookie or not, is a strong IRL competitor. That all-Colorado team has shown some muscle. Now some muscle being flexed by the Pennzoil Panther car. The yellow car, the inside of Kenny Brett.
These guys are being nervous as they almost once again.
I don't know about the spotter on Kenny Bragg's car, but keep talking to those guys.
Kenny Bragg watches now as Goodyear jumps out in front of him. Eliseo Salazar having a solid run. He's 4th. Calvin Fish, you have an update.
Yes, we do. Another strong car out of the race, the one of Greg Ray. Greg, ultimately, what put you out of the event tonight?
Calvin, it's really hard to say. You know, this Clinton team Menard group's been doing a great job all weekend long, and we're running strong, and Goodyear was a little quicker than we were, and we're just happy to stay in the draft. We're running strong, and I don't know if a chain broke or something like that. And it's really disappointing to be so high in points, but one thing I do know is my wife and kids have come the last 2 races. I finished 2nd, 1st. And my wife and kids are going to be at Dover because they're good luck.
Going to see him in Dover, I suspect, correct?
You're definitely going to see him at Dover.
Hey, Greg, sorry to see you out, mate.
Not to make light of what happened, but I kidded Greg Ray about the fact that he was back working out and doing all the things that he didn't do at Pikes Peak. I'll bet you there'll be more junk food at the hotel than you can believe. And look at this battle for 3rd place beginning to develop. And who's in the hunt? The Chilean, Eliseo Salazar, has taken the Nienhaus Motorsports car, and he has really gotten into the hunt. Salazar in that yellow and green car is now trailing Kenny Brett. Brett led early, but Dave, right now, he's faded back to 3rd for the power team entry.
That's exactly right. And also you want to mention that Salazar's had his share of bad luck, and he's challenging now Kenny Brett. Watching them battle on the race course right now. 79 laps to go here at this racetrack, live from Atlanta here on Fox Sports Net.
Salazar started back in the 18th spot, and this is his first ever appearance, as we said. We told you about the starting grid. He is showing a real strong car. Salazar was also strong at Texas Motor Speedway, but over there he snuck up on us. It was a big surprise.
Going back to the front, there's Jacques Lazier. He's the race leader right now, the rookie, showing the way.
You know, Joe Truselli is a transplanted Easterner from Long Island, and I think he's down there with Calvin Fish right now.
He is, Jack. He's normally got a big smile on his face, but he looked a little apprehensive when I walked out. What's it like to be leading one of these things again?
Well, we're on the right track again. Let's hope we can finish in the lead now. But Jock's doing great. We're just focused right now. Want to stay focused. Get this Iron Giant car across the line, you know?
What is your fuel window? Can you make it on one more stop?
We're going to try. We'll soon find out. But if I told you everything, then I don't want to do that yet.
Hey, well, they're going to roll the dice a little bit. Could be tight on fuel, guys, between 1 or 1 and a splash.
You know, a driver once said that to me. He said, if I told you what I did, then I'd have to kill you. And then another driver walked up and says, please tell him, please tell him.
Look at the climb by the rookie. He's up front right now. Scott Goodyear hunting, trying to find that.
Oh! Billy Boat slowing down dramatically there in front of Scott Goodyear. You see the closing rate?
That is amazing.
Something went wrong with Billy Boat right there. I couldn't tell you what it is, but he slowed down dramatically coming off the turn.
Nara, that's a defining moment. That's what you would actually call a moment. And you try to gather it back in. And boy, he really did do a nice job in the Harrah's Resorts Casino number 11. But Billy Boat scared not only himself, but some of the 45,000 fans that are here.
And you know what I think?
Next car is the leader. Next car is the leader.
What it could have been a gear change, and the gears on these cars, they don't really change that quick, and that's why you see that happen.
Watching now, Kenny Breck up front.
Because he's going again at speed, Billy Boat.
The black and red car is Jimmy Kite, as we've told you before. Eliseo Salazar trying to get around Kite. Kite from nearby Stockbridge, Georgia, driving for Mark McCormick in the Team Mostly Fast Rod entry. And Brad McCandless is the crew chief on that car. And I'll tell you what, Ari, the Harris car, just for Billy Boat, doesn't seem to have the same sort of punch that it had before that moment.
No, I thought, like I said earlier, maybe a gear change, but he has a problem. He's falling back. When he comes out of turn 2, he definitely slows down.
All right, let's go down to Vince Welsh. Buddy Lazier involved in an accident. Here's Vince.
Buddy Lazier and Sam Schmidt running 1-2 during the accident. Buddy, you were running your line, you say. Sam's team seems to think that you came down on him.
Well, you know, you can think what you want to think, but I was running. I could very easily tuck my right front wheel in underneath somebody else and turn them around, but we were leading the race. I was running the exact same line I've been running all night, and I'm halfway through the corner, and I got punted and turned around. So I told Sam, we're friends. I don't have a problem. We're going to go back and look at it on tape, but you can't. You got to be wheel to wheel or somewhere in there. You can't just stick your nose in. And the nature of this corner, you don't run right along the white line. You come in the middle of the track and down. But I was running the lower line. I got turned around. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that they said that. Again, we don't have a problem. It just really scares you to get turned around at these speeds. It's unfortunate, but we'll come back hard next time.
How about your brother now? He's leading the race, so I know you're not where you want to be, but at least he's in the right spot.
Well, you know, if one Lazier can't get it, then hopefully another can. So that sounds good.
Thanks, buddy. Glad you're okay. Buddy Lazier, we'll get a word with Sam Schmidt momentarily. He's on his way out.
Jacques Lazier currently 28th in the point standings. The Iron Giant is gobbling up the real estate.
That's exactly right.
At Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And Scott Goodyear's in second. Kenny Breck is third. Salazar fourth. Davey Hamilton fifth.
You know, a lot of emotion from Buddy Lazier there, and you know, at this point he's probably glad that his brother is leading, but you know, he's got a lot of other things on his mind, and they really have to sit down, these guys, and look at the tape, because it doesn't take much to change lines here and get into trouble.
Look at the battle for the lead on the inside. This is Goodyear challenging, but Jacques Lazier says, I may be a rookie, but I'm not coughing up the lead just yet. And the speeds continue to climb as we get into later stages of this lap. Goodyear's a little bit quicker. 69 laps to go, and he's looking to the inside.
With that difference in miles per hour, you're talking about less than 4 1/1000ths of a second between Scott Goodyear in second on the inside in the yellow car and Jacques Lazier on the outside in the white car. Now they're side by side. Who's going to get to the line first?
See how he has to slot in behind him almost again?
Yeah.
They're next to each other, but it doesn't mean he's going to pass him. The guy in front is always going to be a little bit slower because the guy in the back is getting that drive, but looks like he's making the pass right here. It's going to stick.
Side-by-side competition. Look at him staying side-by-side. And the rookie doing a good job of holding his line right here.
Some of the best advice was just given by his spotter saying, be patient, Jack, be patient.
See that? Very wise move here. Not pushing the issue. Lap 141. Still a long way to go. Jacques quite high here. Going a long way around the racetrack, and it shows a little bit here. I think Scott's going to take the lead right now.
Scott Goodyear says, I want the lead. He has a nose up front. And now he gets past for the lead. So Scott Goodyear, who led 50 laps early on, takes the lead.
You know, pit stops are coming up shortly, but let's check in first for the report on Sam Schmidt.
Sam, seems to be some discrepancy on whether it was your line or Buddy's line. How did you see it?
Well, we just started with a good race car. I mean, I don't see it as anybody's fault. I mean, I got to watch the tape. It's just hard racing. I mean, we were racing hard all day. We had a long way to come after the pit side deal, and guys did a heck of a job. And we were just working around lap traffic. Buddy was giving me room. You know, I was concentrating, frankly, more on Buzz than I was on Buddy. And we just hit, you know. I mean, I got to look at the tape. Buddy and I are great friends, and I know he's a good, safe, clean racer. Nobody even wants to come close to touching wheels at these speeds. So I think he was being fair. I just feel bad because the Red PCS team, we really obviously caught up a lot this weekend, and we had the best car out there by far. And you know, it's anybody's fault, mine, because I should have been more patient. I mean, we definitely had the car to win this thing, and that just really disheartened.
Good luck to you. We'll see you in Dover.
Appreciate it.
All right, the race leader is now coming into the pit. Scott Goodyear in pursuit of his third victory this year. Calvin Fish is there, and Scott Goodyear comes to the pits.
Scott Goodyear brings it down pit lane. 80 miles per hour is the speed limit. At this rate, they may need to make another stop. They're going to be about 10-15 laps shy. Scott swings it in. The Panther team get ready to go. The Panther pack go to work right now. Kevin Blanche on the right front. He'll get his right front changed. They'll stay on the radio and watch the rest of the crew go to work. Slight change to the left front wing. One half turn and more left front wing. These guys are picking up an understeer like Texas, where a lot of guys struggle with a loose condition.
Great pit stop there, but did you hear Kevin Blanche say, "Is that you?" Because he was surprised that Scott came in on this lap and not the next lap. So why he did that? Possibly because he was stuck behind slower traffic and wanted to not lose some time on the racetrack coming a lap earlier.
Now the question is, when does Jacques Lazier come into the service of the Warner Brothers Stores Team Truselli entry? A good battle developing for the second spot. Davey Hamilton, still winless on the Pep Boys Indy Racing League Tour, would like to become the 16th different winner in 30 races. Hamilton's the only one to have started all 30 events in Pep Boys Indy Racing League history. Spinal Conquest car, that orange and yellow car, right behind the Delphi, in front of the Delphi Automotive car, Scott Sharp. He's really performed well tonight.
That's right. Davey Hamilton has become one of these fitness guys, too. I saw him today. He's doing all this low-fat stuff and aerobics.
Tell you how it happened. Tell you how it happened. At Texas Motor Speedway last year in a night race, Davey Hamilton did a bunch of autographs, did a lot of stuff during the day, forgot to eat. Between driver introductions and going to the cockpit, he grabbed a hamburger, gobbled it down. At the end of the race, he was so exhausted and ill-nourished that he said, I immediately went to the Carolina Panthers chief trainer, thanks to Rick Gallis. We watched the ProStart batteries onboard telemetry for Scott Sharp. And he said, they put me on a nutritional and a physical training system. Since then, he said, I'd go 500 miles on a night. Hey, your leader's pitting.
Here he comes. Jacques Lazier brings the machine back to the pits. We'll watch his crew go to work. Calvin Fish, this rookie, is putting on quite a show tonight.
Well, we're down the other end right now, guys. We're down in Hamilton's pit. He's going to be pitting shortly, so you'll have to call it from upstairs.
We'll watch him go to work. Everybody on the scramble. Now here comes this rookie crew going to work.
Make sure we get it full. Make sure we get it full.
They want it full because this is going to be their last pit stop. No, this is not going to be their last pit stop.
Fellas, don't forget that at Texas Motor Speedway, in precisely this scenario, when Jacques Lazier pulled back out onto the racetrack, the telemetry on the car, we had the car actually floored and spun into the end of pit road.
Bring the jacker back.
Davey Hamilton and the Spinal Conquest car pulls on the full road. You know what, Ari? You know what Jacques Lazier does now? They have the old-fashioned button. Calvin Fish is here to call him to stop on Hamilton.
Davey brings it in. It's maybe a slight front wing adjustment. Davey's very happy with the race car. He's got Alan Mertens engineering the car now. It's a full turn on the left front, which means that really means in traffic they try and tuck that left front wing underneath the race car in front of them, Ari, as you all know.
Calvin, they have stalled the car. They're trying to restart it now. A tough break for Davey Hamilton. They had taken the 35 gallons of fuel, and then before they even put it in the clutch, they thought it
looked like Ray really ran him bone dry. The car had stalled. I didn't pick up on that from my view. But the crew are very frustrated. Their valuable seconds lost.
Now, this is your race leader, Scott Sharp, the race leader. 153 laps completed. We're going to go 208 tonight. Unser has moved into the shuffle. He is second now. Jacques Lazier's pit stop, pretty successful. Here's Vince.
Yeah, he came in on lap 51, just took on 4 tires and fuel. I just talked with Joe Truselli. He said the car's handling great, but the big problem is they did pit on lap 151. That means they have to make this fuel tank stretch 57 laps. And you know that's probably not going to happen.
That would be extremely difficult. Let's update you on the condition of Steve Knapp. We've heard from Dr. Hank Bach on the condition of Steve Knapp, who was transferred to the Atlanta Medical Center. He is awake. He is alert, complaining of some neck pain. That is terrific news after that terrible moment.
Our thoughts with Steve Knapp as he's at the hospital being checked out, and Scott Sharp is the race leader. There you look out the back door of the Delphi machine, and guys trying to get some laps back against him. Eddie Cheever.
But you know what car is really beginning to perform, even though he is 1 lap down? How about Scott Harrington in 3rd position in the Certainty machine with the Brayton Engineering borrowed motor. Harrington, that white car, down low on the inside of Eliseo Salazar, being posted in the 3rd spot. You know who's now being shown in 2nd spot? Robbie Unser in the Petro Mali machine.
Scott Harrington still has to make his pit stop, but he is running very strong right now. And remember, he's still driving with injuries that he sustained in Dallas.
Broken leg, bruised ribs. Harrington says he's mending very well, though.
It's going to be a great finish. Park it there on the couch. The final stages are coming up. The race leader comes into the pits in Atlanta. Scott Sharp is in the pits, and Calvin Fish.
Number 8 machine pulled in. They think they can go the rest of the way, but they're going to need a long run. About 46 laps. It's going to be pushing things very tight. Kenny Breck says the same thing. Slight wing adjustment on the front end once again for this race car. A lot of cars struggling with understeer. Scotty had a severe understeer early in the race. They're waiting for the last drop of fuel, and he's out of here.
All right, we understand problems now for Scott Goodyear. Scott Goodyear, the series points leader, has problems on the race course. His machine's slowing down.
This will be costly in the chase for the Pep Boys' $1 million first place championship.
It's amazing what happened tonight with Scott Goodyear, Jeff Ward, Greg Ray. All these guys are hitting troubles. This is the last of the guys up in the points that is having troubles as well.
You can still got Eddie Cheever out going around. Let's check in with Vince Wells.
Scott Harrington currently running up front in his pit stop. Just tires and fuel. The chassis has been perfectly set up, and the car is running great. Out of the box slowly, but it does get away, and Harrington looks to stay up near the front of the pack.
You could hear Daryl Safi tell him, go easy in second, go easy in second.
He doesn't have first gear, and you can see
Calvin Fish is in Scott Goodyear's pit. Calvin?
Yes, we are. They believe they have a battery problem. They're taking the left side part off. They're going to get inside the machine, but a lot of ground is being lost under green flag conditions for the championship leader right now. He said he wasn't sure he's going to make it to the pits. They had guys running halfway down pit lane in case he stalled out early. He did cruise into his pit, but the engine is dead.
Scott Harrington has spun on the racetrack. Harrington has spun. That's the reason it comes out. He spun coming out of the pits in turn 1.
I can't get the car to shift.
That's the voice of Scott Harrington.
Their tires ready, guys. They're pulling in. We'll get going.
very frustrated.
Don't need tires. Roger. Just get them to pull you and see if they'll start you.
He has a gearbox problem, and that
couldn't get it out of gear.
Let's go back and take a look. He said he spun on the grass, and what happened was he was just sliding across the grassy area here, and that was why he was telling Daryl Safi, we don't need new tires. All we need to do, because I spun just down in the grass, is just get me started again. See, there he is, plowing through the grass. That's not going to do a lot of damage.
That's not hurting the tires at all. It's not going to flat spot
him at all. Never hit the pavement.
But he has a problem with the clutch, most likely.
Yeah.
So he pressed in the clutch, but the car would still be in gear, and that's why it stalled.
Let me show you. Here's about where it started, and then as we go in, you can see where it just kind of took you all in this way here. That was all in the grass.
Arch Major.
Are you pretty good at Crayola crayons? I was just wondering.
You know what? John Madden and I went to different schools together. I just love this telestrip.
Yeah, but last week at...
Let's go
for an update from Vince. Vince?
Well,
with the Harrington crew, Darryl Soppy. Darryl, what was going on with Scott? Well, actually, he's talking with Scott right now on the radio as we speak.
We had a problem with the clutch, and the engine was stumbling during the yellows, so he's having to slip the clutch, and the clutch is starting to wear out, having a hard time getting out of the pits and getting it in gear. And he was concentrating so much hard down there, to get it in gear, and I guess it just spun when it caught, so he got it down in the green.
Have his injuries played any role in getting in and out of the pits with the clutch?
Not really. We just made it real hard on him because we had a problem with the car, and it was all our fault, really.
Thank you, Darryl.
You know, racing in the IRL lost a good friend a couple of weeks ago when KMX Motorsports editor Walt Glatter died of a heart attack in his St. Louis home. Glatter was a longtime supporter of the Indy Racing League and a fixture at the Indy 500. He was 71 years old. We all will miss him.
Welcome back. 39 laps to go here at the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. And Jack, we have a new race leader, huh?
There he is, the Petro Molly car for Robbie Unser. The best finish that Robbie's had in the only race here, an accident. He finished in 16th position. He's run well all year with Team Pelfrey, but the problem has been pit stops. So what did John King and Greg Paul do during the off time? They practiced pit stops, not normal ones. They threw every conceivable wrench into a pit stop, and the entire crew learned how to anticipate problems. Hunter learned how also to hit the marks a little better. We're going back to green with Robbie Unser ahead of Scott Sharp, Kenny Bracken, Buzz Calkins in the top 5.
Lap 169. The charge goes on. Looking for victory here.
All of a sudden, the contender there, Scott Goodyear, is nowhere because of his problems in the pits. With an electrical problem, he's in 16th place right now. Here's the leader, Robbie Unser.
No question that the caution actually helps Robbie Unser. Robbie was as much as 1 lap back, but he got his lap back, and there you see he's had 6 starts, 3 top 10s. Best finish is 6th at Texas Motor Speedway this year, currently 12th in the points.
He just passed his cousin actually there on the racetrack, Johnny.
He was the 1987 World Hill Climb champ. We watch and check in on the battle for second. The red and yellow and black car is the Delphi Automotive car for Scott Sharp. The white and red car is the Indy 500 champion, Kenny Brack.
Both these guys have been hanging around all afternoon, all evening long, battling, running about 213 miles an hour. Looking out the back now, Scott Sharp's car, Kenny Brack right there.
Brack, the quickest car on the racetrack at this point at 2:13. Scott Sharp right behind at 2:12.8. Scott Sharp was on the rev limiter there, and he's the leader of the two, and you would expect that Kenny Brack might be on the rev limiter as well. They're running quicker right now because it's cooler.
Stefan Gregoire alluded to the fact that as it got darker and quicker as they go by, that it was going to be a little better race at the end.
Definitely so. Last year at the same race here, at the end of the race, the track was a lot better than the beginning.
Now they just went by Raul Boisel and the B-Fast Shopper Brandt Racing entry. Boisel in the Riley and Scott cars, he has moved up to 6th position. So he is indeed taking that lack of downforce and put it to good use.
Take the whole tripod, lift it up so I can get to the O2.
Yeah, more problems for Scott Goodyear. He had a great run going early on and developed the problems, and he's back in the pit area.
What these guys have over Jeff Ward and over Greg Ray is that they are still running. They are still in the hunt for points.
He also said, Ari, at the top of the show that Buzz Calkins needed to get Lady Luck back on his side. There's the red car. Buzz Calkins, number 2, the Bradley Savo Mat Special. He is now being posted in the 5th position. Started back in 9th, moved 11th, 10th, just all in that back area. But as we get down to the last moments, he is in 5th, just ahead of Raul Boisel.
You know, Buzz Calkins always seems to be cool and calm. 32 laps to go. We'll see if he has enough to push towards the front. Robbie Unser holds on to the lead with Scott Sharp 2nd, Kenny Brack 3rd, and there's Buzz Calkins.
You know, another driver that really deserves a call right now is Dr. Jack Miller in the Mayfield Dairy car. He's finished 31st at the Indianapolis 500 in his only start. And there's the battle for 9th spot between Boisel in the black car and the Spinal Conquest car at Dallas. And there is a challenge for the lead on the outside.
He got it.
Ooh.
At least for now. Scott Sharp has the lead now on Robbie Unser.
You're behind.
Here the spotters going to work, and Ari, you talked about that in the pre-race show, how important these spotters are, and we've seen that a great deal tonight. And Calvin Fish has an update on Scott Sharp.
An update on Scott Sharp is he can go the distance on fuel. After Kenny Breck's pit stop, he radioed in. He said, can the two cars in front of me go the rest of the way? I ran up and spoke to Will Moody. He said, yes, we are fine now with those caution laps. We can go to the checkered flag, hopefully.
30 laps to go here. We're racing for the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500.
Do you notice that ever since Will Moody, the former Trans Am engineer for Scott Sharp, signed on board with the Delphi Automotive team and was reunited with Scott Sharp, this team has gotten better and better and better. Currently, he's in 6th spot, but my big question, Vince Welch, is what about fuel for guys like Unser and Brack?
Well, Robbie Unser can definitely make it the distance. I talked with John King a moment ago, right before Sharp passed him. He said, we can get to the end, and then he crossed his fingers and kind of gave me that look. Come on, we hope we can get there. Kenny Breck is good as well, so those are two guys, as you said, running 2 and 3 right now that figure to give Scott Sharp a run for his money in the last 28 laps.
180 laps completed. Sharp's the leader. Unser, there's the difference between 1st and 2nd place.
Strong finish tonight will also push Scott Sharp over the $2 million mark in Pep Boys IRL earnings. He's at $1.9 million right now, so a top finish would do wonders. Now take a look at this pass.
1.9 million.
Sharp just motors onto the high side, carries the momentum, Ari, till we exit the corner.
Take him long to get around him, and then Robbie's sticking with him pretty good. He's just a half a second behind him at this point.
Back to live action now. Scott Sharp, the race leader, running at 211 miles an hour. Lap 182, 6 starts, 1 pole, and top 5. He's only been there once. Kind of been a disappointing year for him. This will make up for it here tonight when you get the win.
Real racers know the Sharp name. Scott Sharp's dad, Bob Sharp, was actually a 6-time SCCA national champion, and it was the Sharp family that got Paul Newman involved in racing. So, you know, if Scott Sharp wins tonight, he will actually become another new winner for 1999. Not a new career winner, because Scott Sharp has won before. He has 3 wins at Dover in '98, Phoenix in '98, and back at New Hampshire back in 1996. But he would join the winner's circle for 1999, and it'd be a big win for Kelly Racing as well.
This team certainly deserves to win the race because they've just been working so hard. They've been hit by a lot of bad luck, especially in the case of Mark Dismore. And, you know, it would be great to see these guys come through because they've surely put a lot of money into this, a lot of effort into this. And
Tom and Jim are at home in Atlanta. In fact, they operate 6 auto dealerships here in the Atlanta area, but they also have some businesses in the Ukraine, Calvin. Down in Moldova, they own a grain company. They help their farmers by flying in 1 million gallons of diesel oil each year, and they purchase tractors and farm equipment. But Jim recently flew some cardiologists to teach how to transplant pacemakers in the Ukraine. He flew them over there, Calvin, and Jim is 81 years old.
Well, they're doing a lot of great work down there, Jack. As you mentioned, I'm with his son, Tom. Tom, you guys have struggled so much in the races this year. You've always been fast in qualifying, and you've really had to rethink your game plan, and today it looks like it's coming good.
Yeah, Scott's car is running really good. I just got a yellow. We're going to have to pay attention here, but the track just went yellow.
Let you get back to work.
Problems on the backstretch is with Dr. Jack Miller. That's the reason for the yellow comes out during the interview. See smoke coming from the machine right now.
Did I jinx him?
I think you may have jinxed him.
He's pointing at the back to the guys. Hey, come here and help me out, get me out of the way.
Let's see what happened to Dr. Jack Miller. Like Old Faithful coming out of the corner. Obviously something is
Boy, he spun around and he didn't hit a thing.
Did a 360, a pirouette, and I thought maybe we were ice skating.
That's right, 20 laps to go. Who's going to win this thing here tonight? Scott Sharp has the lead. There he is. Can he go the distance? We've got the great finish coming up on Fox Sports Net. Welcome back back to Atlanta. 18 laps to go. Right now, Scott Sharp is your leader. We've had 41 caution laps, 6 cautions so far. The average race speed, 140. 16 different lead changes. How about that? Most laps led, 52 by Scott Goodyear, but he's not a player to win right now. It's this man, Scott Sharp.
Scott Sharp was talking to his guy on the radio, and here's a replay of Jack Miller spinning on his own oil, but very lucky man here, didn't touch a thing.
Did a nice job keeping it off the wall right here.
Right along with Scott Goodyear and see what it looks like to see an accident unfold in front of you. Just look in this area here.
He sees smoke, and when he sees smoke, he gets out of it because you know there's going to be a yellow. But of course, now he can't see anything.
But you know what? It's not like they showed in Days of Thunder and Tom Cruise. You don't drive to the smoke, try to get control of the car, and then pick your way through.
Scott Sharp was talking to his guy on the radio to ask him about when he can get on the throttle. Can he pass the pace car? Where can he pass that?
Right.
They went through all this stuff in the drivers' meeting, but he's just clarifying the situation. He says as soon as the pace car pulls off the racetrack and goes onto the apron, it's my deal, I'm in control. And he's double checking that with his crew, and he's telling his crew, double check it with the IRL. He doesn't want to make a mistake. He doesn't want to be penalized.
There you hear
the pace car drops down onto the apron. The pace is yours.
There you hear the command going out to Scott Sharp, telling him next time by we're going to go green.
You got 16 laps to go. 16 laps to go.
You hear it. Next time by, 16 laps to go. Scott Sharp can almost smell that victory.
It's very important for Scott Sharp to get a good run, a good start on the field, because he doesn't want Robbie Unser and Kenny Bragg and Salazar and Calkins to get into his draft and draft by him and pass him together. So he wants to get kind of a jump on the start.
Robbie Unser's best finish ever was a second in the 1998 Lone Star 500. That racetrack, 1.5 miles, a carbon copy of this one in Atlanta.
Well,
yeah, he was running great in Texas as well when he had a wheel problem, when he actually was running up near the front. And here we go.
16 laps to go. Up through the gears they come. Scott Sharp's the leader. Unser challenging Robbie Unser in second. Breck is third.
Great start.
Green.
And look at Kenny Breck come up through the gearbox as well from his third place starting spot. We're going to have a 3-car tango before this one's over.
Let's go to Vince Welsh.
I just asked Tommy Lamance, is everything okay? He said, yeah, we're great on fuel. I said, can you catch Scott Sharp? And he said, yeah, we're great on fuel.
He's going to the high side. He's actually trying to go on the high side and pick up Sharp's draft as quickly as he can. But there he got a little squirty because he came down too quickly.
We've seen Kenny Breck use all the track many times before. He won here 1 year ago, the Indy 500 champion.
Whoa.
Looking for a way around to move into second.
And in that searching for a way around, you could see by the movement of his hand that the air was being taken off the front wings. It was getting very light, and he had to try and hold on and see if he could slice and dice back and forth across that wind curve.
See how far he dropped back because he had to get out of the throttle. The front of the car just started to float. And Jacques Lazier is trying to get around him here, not for position, but to go to the front to get a lap back. Now it's going to take him a while to get back into that rhythm and start closing in on these guys ahead of him. But right now it's a 2-man race here with Robbie and Scott Sharp. Scott looks like he's in control. But it ain't over until it's over, right, Jack?
You better believe it.
You're clear.
Now 13 laps to go, and Scott Sharp trying to hold on for his first win this year.
Don't tell Jacques Lazier on the high side of Kenny Breck that there is nothing to go racing about. He's trying to get that lap back. You'd think they were battling for positions.
And Kenny doesn't want to see that. Kenny doesn't want to have him go by him because then he has to get around him again to get to those two guys. So he's doing everything he can to hold them off. So
we're anticipating a fantastic finish. We've had several of those this year. 12 laps to go now.
Separation between first and second is less than 1/10 of a second. What is 1/10 of a second? You can't even snap your fingers in 1/10 of a second.
Well, these cars cover about a football field in less than a second. So, you know, a tenth of a second is distance, and we can see the distance right here on the screen. And, you know, he's inching a little bit closer, Robbie Unser is, and it's not over yet.
Could this be the night a new star is born of the Unser family? Robbie Unser trying to Join that famous family in victory lane as he continues to pursue the leader, Scott Sharp.
Robbie Unser is a huge fan of the internet. In fact, he has his own website, www.robbieunser.com. So what did Robbie do? He taught his dad, Bobby Unser, how to cruise the internet. Now you get emails from Bobby Unser all the time. You know what Bobby's email address is? Bobby Unser.
BobbyUnser.com.
10 laps to go now as Scott Sharp continues to hold off Robbie Unser and Kenny Breck. And Jacques Lazier now is on the lead lap. And Jacques Lazier is on the lead lap, we're told.
There was an error in scoring, and he is on the lead lap, and he's very quick. So here we got the top 4 running right together.
So can Unser catch the leader? Sharp, let's go down to the pits for an update.
Well, I just spoke to the crew. I said, does he have a good race car? They said, yes, we just need a little bit more power, and they smiled. Obviously, too late to make any changes there, but he's going to give it his all. They've been knocking on the door. They're hoping to win this one.
Well, it is good to hear that the Iron Giant is indeed on the lead lap. Jacques Lazier was in the hunt. We always wondered where he had gone. Oh.
Did you see that? Did you see the move that Kenny Breck did? He's really hustling that car.
Breck's hands right there as he goes back and forth across. You can get a good indication of what the wind does to the front area of these wings.
You're looking at 1, 2, and 3 here at Atlanta. Kobalt Mechanics Tools, 507 laps to go. It's down to the nitty-gritty. Show your cards.
Whoa, we go below the white line there. Not a place to go, but Kenny is very pumped up at the end of the race.
Vince Welch.
Well, Kenny Breck, as you guys mentioned, was being closed on by Jacques Lazier. They came over the radio, A.J. Foyt, and said, Lazier's on the same lap. You better step it up. And he all of a sudden moved up to challenge Robbie Unser. We'll see if he ends up catching him.
You know what? It may look like positions are not in play as we watch Jacques Lazier try the outside. Ari, as you know, you can be as much as 12 to 15 car lengths behind another car in IRL competition, and you are in play. If you can see a driver in your mirror, your spot is up for grabs.
Oh, like right here, Jacques Lazier is close enough to get the draft and get closer to Kenny.
5 to go, 5 to go.
There you hear the command, 5 to go for Scott Sharp, holding off Robbie Unser.
Kenny Breck was a little loose, was pushing the issue, was pushing the envelope a little too much, and I think that Kenny has realized that he doesn't have the car to challenge right now for the lead.
Tim Neff, the engineer on Robbie Unser's car, really has tuned that one in. Will Moody, as we told you, the engineer on the Delphi Automotive entry, they seem to have pulled a little bit away from the other 2 cars of Breck and Lazier. But my, how things can change, especially at 215 miles an hour. Race speed right now for the top 4 cars, all within 1/10 of a mile an hour of each other. This is close racing. This is going right down to the checkered flag.
Most definitely. 3 laps to go now. Scott Sharp is the man to catch. Delphi Automotive.
3 laps to go.
Calmly on the radio. 3 laps to go from his crew. The lead now just about a half a second. Just about a half a second on Robbie Unser. Kenny Breck in 3rd. Jacques Lazier is 4th. Eliseo Salazar solid in 5th position right now. The speed's 211 miles an hour.
The guy on the radio with Scott Sharp tells him you're doing a great job. And
2 laps to go.
Complimenting the driver never hurts to help his ego behind the wheel, especially under this kind of stress.
Race car drivers have egos. We're watching now as on board with Sharp with 2 laps to go here on Fox Sports Net, trying to get his first win of the season.
Yellow.
Oh, no! Jacques Lazier narrowly missed by somebody there.
Jacques Lazier in 4th spot will bring out the yellow.
So there you go. We'll watch now with 2 laps to go, 1 lap to go. Let's see if this thing will finish under yellow.
Are you running?
You can see that Lazier is trying to fire his car, but all the tires are flat, and he cannot get enough bite to continue.
The flat tires are because he flat spotted and braking really hard to avoid hitting the wall, and he avoided the wall, but he got 4 flat spotted tires with holes in them.
You saw the celebration going on down there in the Delphi Automotive Kelly Racing pit area as Scott Sharp is, looks like he's going to get the victory under yellow here at Atlanta after Jacques Lazier spins. Watch Scott Sharp. Looks like he will pick up his first.
Nice job, Party. You make owning this team a lot of fun.
That was Tom Kelly, and what a testimony that was.
And the checkered flag comes out as this race finishes under yellow. And and the celebration's underway.
Scott, this is Jack Arute at Fox Sports Net. Congratulations, man.
Jack, you know, we've been working so hard. We've changed so many things. Personnel came here with an all brand new setup. Really had to work pretty hard all day trying to make the car better and better. Boy, I prayed so about this, and you just have to be patient.
Well, congratulations to Scott Sharp. You got to hear from him right here on Fox Sports Net. He wins the big one, the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500. We'll be right back. Tonight's Fox Sports Net Pep Boys Indy Racing League event, the Kobalt Mechanics Tools 500, presented by MCI WorldCom, has been sponsored in part by Kobalt Tools, sets the standard in mechanics tools. By MCI WorldCom, the official long-distance and local service provider of the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. By Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go, Pennzoil. And by Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us. The celebration's underway in Atlanta. Scott Sharp wins it. Robbie Unser second. Kenny Brandt third in this race. Salazar comes in fourth, and Buzz Calkins is fifth.
17 cars finished the race. Scott Sharp and company will be hanging around here to unveil and test the new 3.5-liter engine, Dave. And hey, it is Kim, Scott Sharp's wife. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Kim.
Exactly. We appreciate you watching this Pep Boys Indy Racing League show from Atlanta. Good night, everybody.